All right, everyone, welcome back to Aok Island. It's episode six, seven, maybe
Something
eight,
like that.
somewhere in there.
Indeterminate number.
As usual, let's start with a quick recap of what happened last time.
We played the Benny Hill soundtrack over a montage of us chasing and being chased by an interdimensional monster.
Yeah, not totally untrue. We start the session mouth agape as a physics professor operating some kind of trans-dimensional device meant to unlock
Wow.
the secrets of corruption. Um, m- uh, uh, um,
Specifically to try to create an area that was protected from corruption.
Sure, if that's what you've extrapolated from that, I didn't pick that up.
I think
But
that's literally what he told us it was.
oh, well, all I remember is that a large rift formed, in which a stone-like, lizard-like, serpentine creature crawled from some hellish menagerie
Yeah, it's
with
like a gargoyle
humanoid,
dragon thing.
yeah, with humanoid skulls in a necklace around its neck.
Mhm.
Emerged from this rift, and we henceforth went to fight it. Unsure how we were going to do this. We all knew that this thing would probably kill us in one hit. Anastas in an extremely weakened state. Um, all of us soft and squishy. But we knew that we had to try to save the physics professor and that we had to do something to mitigate the damage. So we jumped into action, and the lizard released this shockwave, this bellow, that potentially infected individuals with corruption, all that heard it.
Which makes sense because as we found out after that shockwave, it was able to very specifically key in on the person that had the most corruption in the area around it, or just a person with corruption in
want to
general.
be a little bit. This I'm not going to call this a retcon because this is how I had designed the encounter. It's just that I forgot about it in the moment. The wave, the like wave of corruption was from when the portal first opened.
Gotcha.
And thenceforth, it sort of seemed to be using this like rumbling as a way of detecting where the corruption already was.
So like an ultrasonic, like a radar type thing.
Yeah.
So it did not have the ability to corrupt with
No,
its
no,
signature,
and that is
important.
critical. That is
Yeah,
critical.
that is critical. Okay, that is important to know. Well, anyway, this otherwise blind creature started to like locate. I think Alexander was the one who failed the resolute test. He was also the one trying to save the professor. Um, uh,
Yeah, stayed
Anastas,
in the room as this thing was like starting to flail and like starting to literally like beat itself into the ground to destroy this machine
yeah,
as time went
Yeah,
on.
it had a very strange like style of attacking, which is it basically just skull bashed things. Like it uses its hands for gripping, but not for like attacking, and it just headbutts.
yeah.
instead.
Anastas and or how I should say is Dorian attempted to like convince Millie, who is still with us, who is paralyzed in fear, to leave. She wasn't going, so Anastas absconded with her to research and development. Kind of snapped her to her senses, told her to go activate or alert whatever the defense systems of the Arcadavian University were, and Anastas tried to like get R&D on the same page as everyone. They were obviously shocked and not quite sure what to do. We came up with some ideas around oil and um, explosions, but they all kind of seemed to really not pan out. So Anastas went back to meet with Raleigh,
Well, they
and
crucially did
Well,
have one additional idea, which was if this thing is made out of stone, you should use a
use a
pickaxe.
pickaxe.
yes, he was.
Um, and something actually happened between all of this happening, which was Alexander centric.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
happened to you, Alexander?
Well, Alexander had a little bit of trouble in the dorms. He attempted
Well,
to.
what happened? How did you get to the dorms?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh
tele-
yeah, that old thing.
I teleported again, didn't I?
Yes, you sure
You
did.
did.
Yeah. Oh darn. Yes. So Alexander's ability activated, and instead of sending him completely in an unknown area, it did luckily send him into one he was somewhat familiar with, the dorms of the university. Unfortunately, since he had last been there, the the corrupted individuals had not just been staying in their beds, being helped by the medics, the nurses, whatever. Unfortunately, they were up and about and ready to kill.
It's like a Friday in
Anything.
Madison.
Sometimes
Gone full ISG Ishimura, baby.
I've been there. Saturday evenings. You get some toppers. You're invincible. Point being, though,
The
all of
toppers
the
activate some kind of primal rage.
sometimes, man. Um, Needless to say, all of the corrupted individuals in the hospital or the dorms, which had been used as a hospital at this point, started to attack. And Alexander was able to. So the people who were in there who were alive still were able to barricade themselves. Alexander essentially was able to distract slash fight them to a degree using his sneaky sneak abilities and some luck, essentially, both two of his best things, to essentially deal with some of the biggest threats. To which then the beast, the gargoyle, came into the.
Wait, we gotta go in order.
We'll
Yeah.
finish. Yes.
While
Yes.
all
So
of this
he's
was
fighting
happening,
dorms. Yes.
while all of this was happening, Raleigh, seeing that Alexander being disappeared and assuming that he had just been disintegrated by the energy being released by this insane device as it continued to whirl and spew lightning bolts and starting fires and stuff, decided, well, that it was on him to go try to save this professor. And after many, many failed attempts at trying to get this guy unpinned from the rubble that he was buried in, and after the guy had told him to leave him behind, and Raleigh's resolution to never leave a man behind again, like, finally got him out. And as this was happening and the beast had sort of finished destroying the machine completely, ended up then leaving the room. And as it was leaving the room, Raleigh and the professor saw an area on the back of its head that seemed to be different than the rest of it, almost like a veiny, like, it just looked very different from the surrounding, like, like stone skin around it. And we assumed that might be a weak spot. And my food is here, and now I'm gonna go get it.
Sure. At that time, Anastas went separate ways with Millie. Opened up a magic a secret door, ran through the hall. Dorian got a pickaxe, and Anastas decided that it had to run back to kind of see what was going on with the creature. Peering inside, smoke bellowing, can't see inside. The creature then slunk past Anastas, not recognizing that it was there because Anastas had no corruption at the time. There was a little huddle with the professor and Raleigh. We bounced some ideas. Anastas was curious about what happened to Alexander and had the heartbreaking news that he had been vaporized into nothingness.
That's right.
But there was no time to grieve. Raleigh and Anastas essentially nodded heads and knew that, well, we're going to have to try to kill this thing with that weak spot or bust. And so that is when Alexander, dealing with the crazed lunatics corrupted, was greeted by a stone-faced monster.
Which burst into the room, and Alexander immediately did what he did best. does best. He hid. And because he was the least corrupted individual in the room, and the corrupted were kill anything that moves mode. Well, first off, they went to bow to it. I do recall that. They
Yeah,
went
a
to
bunch
worship
of them were,
Yeah, several of them at least went to worship it as a sort of god or something. It did not seem to be a fan of that.
It didn't care at all.
Didn't care, no. And began to kill the corrupted individuals. They started fighting it back. Alexander was able to escape at that point, making sure that, again, because he was the least corrupted individual, he was able to move undetected, was able to get through, and at least hope that the students and faculty who had barricaded themselves, also likely the least corrupted individuals in that area, would be protected. Essentially, a sort of Jurassic Park, where the T-Rex kills the Velociraptors situation here, which ended up working out pretty well. Alexander was able to escape.
So while all of this was going on,
Oh yeah.
Dorian
going
had
on.
his own shit going on too. He, after obtaining the pickaxe, he parted ways with, Anastas, and followed after Millie, caught up with Millie, and as the stone-faced serpent was going towards, Alexander's position, it passed right by Dorian and Millie, and they had like a scary hide in the corner moment. Dorian then kissed Millie for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It was very heartwarming and prompted by a man yelling, "You should kiss her!" in the background.
Fucking welcome.
I believe it was also with a mouthful of something. Last time too. Anyways, so Dorian and Millie then made their way to the headmaster's office, and the headmaster was acting rather strange.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to prepare some sort of ritual and needed the professor of mythology.
Not quite.
No?
What
What am I missing?
Oh man, I know what he was doing. I don't know what you know that he was doing. I will say that he was not preparing a ritual. That was
Well,
not
not
his
necessarily.
endgame, but
Yeah, he was like trying to inject her with something.
that he was, and he would have explained this. He was trying to inject her with something because when he went to go find her, she was babbling incoherently and had gone crazy. He was trying to like fix her, to heal her.
I was not under that.
We never got to that
impression at
point
all.
because you detected that there was something to do with corruption in those vials.
In fact, yes, that is what happened. That he was like, this is going to make her
He was
cogent.
definitely acting very strangely.
He did like break, like when he opened the door, he like ripped it off the hinges.
Yeah, he was definitely off.
Correct.
And
you're not wrong about that.
So I was under the assumption that when that wave kind of hit everyone, it affected everybody else in this school, and because he was about to inject her with something with more corruption in it, that it would like bolster this change that was happening to everyone and like literally turn her into another monster.
That is a reasonable conjecture, yes.
That is why Dorian, while all of these things are happening, is like, something's off, I'm not allowing this to happen, blew the vial up out of his hand before he could inject her with it, and then ran like hell with Millie.
Yes.
And then we all met up in sort of like the main hall of the school is the imagery I was getting. Millie,
yeah, like the entry hall. Yeah.
Millie split off from us and left the academy to bring news of all of this that was going on to a mystery party.
Yeah, it was suggested that she go tell your mother,
And
she
she's like,
was
"No,
like,
I have
think
someone
your
else."
mother's a shitty person to tell.
Yeah, she was like, hell no.
Yeah.
And then said, "I have someone else much better in mind," and left.
Yes.
But we have no idea who that was.
Correct.
Right.
And then we fought the monster. For reals.
Correction. We fucking wrecked the monster.
So
Bro,
Alexander
so-
met up with you guys first
Yeah.
before that, and you realized he wasn't dead, which is good.
We came up with a plan. Anastas said, I'm going to run up, grab this thing by the head, and we're going to expose this weak spot, or we're going to die trying. And we found it in the courtyard. Some of the crazy lunatics were around. Alexander deftly dispatched one of them. We allowed the monster to kind of destroy two more of them. I do think one escaped into the town.
One or two, I think, yeah.
Yeah, one or two did make it their way out of the town. But the trap was sprung. Anastas succeeded in a grapple check using the trusty pickaxe handed to him by his dear friend Dorian.
Never
Was
let go of
able
it.
to wrestle the weak spot open. There were several volleys of arrows and bolts that landed remarkably true, and Anastas fell-handed split the creature's head in twain.
Yes. At that point,
We went back inside
You went back inside.
and saw that the portal was still open.
Portal's still
And
open.
We don't know what the fuck to do about that.
The professor got to work on it though.
Yes.
He was cleaning. He's like, this is going to be a lot of work.
Yes. Yeah, basically.
I do think that is. Wait, I'm missing something. What happened after that?
I don't think anything happened after that. I think.
Okay, was that it? The
I
end?
think. Yeah. I think.
Yeah, that
you
was
went-
it. We just kind of rendezvoused back at
Yeah, and you looked at the
Professor's
portal, and
busted workshop.
it was clear that the portal was still open, and there's stuff on the other side of it.
So this thing
that-
Oh, yeah.
is basically. I was thinking about this since then. This is basically like an Eldrazi, and that's like the Blind Eternities.
And that's what it seems like. The professor did leave with a kind of like an ominous phrase saying that there is a lot that we do not understand and perhaps may never understand of corruption.
Yes. Yes, that it fundamentally works different than he thought that it did. If this
Which
is
is
the
why which is why the machine tore a hole in the plane
right.
to let this thing come through.
Right. So it is very late at night by the time that you have felled the creature. If you recall, you guys were headed back home to sleep the night, and after this ordeal, you are left completely exhausted.
We make our way out of the university without.
I was going
trouble?
to say, does anyone have any issues going back to Caldwell Manor right now and sleeping the night and then beginning the next morning?
Are there more of the crazed students and faculty wandering around?
Yeah, doing a quick assessment of the situation, it seems that they're not in the immediate vicinity. The students that are there are maybe not completely sane, but they're not violent. It seems that Professor Claudia Waverly kind of has them under control and is finding safe places for them to be.
The ones who barricade themselves, they're okay.
Those ones are okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I would also say so. Alexander might want to hunt those that did escape. Is that possible?
Sure.
You're
So
just going to hunt them and kill
Yes.
them.
I'll-
What if there's some sort of cure for this?
Do you wish to have them running about your city? Causing them.
No, but I don't think hunting them to death is necessarily the
That's-
answer.
It is perhaps a job for the god at this point, Alexander.
I suppose I could earn a little rest then.
Have we
Um,
seen the professor or of mythology or the headmaster at all since that went down?
you have not seen them, no.
Yeah, how's Dorian looking?
Did we leave the physics professor alone in his office?
Yes.
We did.
I don't think we should do that.
No, you did not. You did not leave him alone in the office. If you recall, the two grad students, John and Angus, from Applied Science, who were right across the hall, were assisting him.
Have any of those people near like the direct vicinity of the blast, like the two weaponsmiths or the physics professor, shown any kind of similar signs of this crazed corruption that we saw throughout the rest of the school?
Not that you recall.
That's interesting.
So the headmaster was perhaps in his right mind when he did that.
It almost seems like the wave that went out, instead of like instantly driving people like crazy with corruption, it almost seemed like it sort of took the people that were already pretty infected and pushed them over into becoming abominations.
Rather
Yeah.
than infecting them directly.
For
Right,
sure.
I mean-
And the people who failed the resolute check were only mildly, temporarily corrupted.
Right, like myself.
Yeah. So it's not like it did like this crazy, horrific mutagenic
So-
wave.
It seems like I would assume as
Right,
a
but we have
player,
no idea
not
how
as
far
Raleigh.
out. Oh, sorry.
Well, I was gonna say, I assume as a player, like having that open trans-dimensional rift is probably not going to do wonders for people's corruption levels inside the walls of the academy. But
I do think Pat was correct in our exhaustion. However, it might be good to get some.
My only other concern is that we have no idea just how far this corrupting wave went either. The entire city of Arcadia could have been struck with this blast.
well,
Anastas
pretty
is
quickly
like-
based on how many people were in the church beds last we saw.
That's precisely what I was just thinking.
However, that will require fighting, and as you can see, ribs are like dangling from his rib cage. His arm is still like kind of floating out of socket and like magnetically reattaching. I am in no shape to do so.
Oh, right. I absolutely understand and believe we should go get some rest. There are things to keep in mind. That's
Well,
all I'm saying.
I'm personally doing just fine, and I think you're right. I think the guard needs to be involved and needs to know that there may or may not be lunatics about. So I can take care of that and join you after.
It would perhaps be prudent of me to visit our curiosity shop as well for some rest.
You trust him?
I do. It's also been made aware that they will be experiencing company soon. I have to check on their progress.
Ominous.
Okay. So, my understanding now is that Dorian and Alexander are going to return to Caldwell Manor to sleep the night, get some rest. Anastas is going to instead return to the curiosity shop and rest with the rest of the Najit
Yep.
to see if they have any news for him as well.
Yes.
While
Raleigh.
Thank you. Raleigh is going to gather some men together and start searching the city for any of the loose corrupted or anything that that may have turned violent because of this corruption wave. Is that right?
Right. That's
Okay.
exactly right.
Okay.
And at the very least, if he's not leading it himself, he's going to make his superiors aware of the situation at the university and of the potential fallout from it.
Good captain. It would be of great service to me if you were to mobilize the other mercenary bands on your endeavor. It would buy me time.
Well, I don't have the ability to do that. I can speak for maybe the rest of the brass jacks, but it's not my call to make. I'll see what I can do.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's start with Anastas. Anastas, you return back to the curiosity shop and down into the basement where the rest of the Najit are hiding out. They are right now, when you arrive, in prayer. And as they hear the click on the latch of the door behind you, they turn and they're being led in prayer by not Horatio. Horatio's second in command, whose name is, what was that?
Is it Caspian?
It is Caspian. Yes.
Caspian.
Casimir.
It might be
Yeah,
Caspian.
I thought it was Casimir. If it was Caspian, I would have been making Don Treader references and shit.
Okay.
Sure. Casimir.
Casimir doesn't sound right either. Fuck. Okay, it's Casimir for right now.
Okay.
Anastas, you return to us.
I wish not for anything but to hear thy prayer and rest. We will speak.
Did you feel the presence? Something has happened.
Yes, something has.
We are praying for guidance. Would you like to join us?
I would. Yes.
So, how does, well, okay, so, all of the Najit turn to you, Anastas, looking to you to lead them in prayer. What does the prayer that Anastas leads these Najit in look like?
Anastas goes up to the altar and bows to the young leader, and they exchange positions. Casimir then goes down and they prostrate themselves. Anastas places Puridicida on the altar and then bends itself backwards around it, intertwining its legs and limbs through the silver wheel. Then a voice echoes from the center of this icon that it's created. And he begins low rumbling hum. See us now, O pure one, O pilgrim of light. Guideth us through these unknown times. Guideth us through the darkness on thy path, and be with us as we follow in thy footsteps. Show us thy strength, show us thy will. For I and your children wish to bask in thy light and bathe in thy love. And returns to like a humming.
Excellent. With that, we are going to switch back to Raleigh. So Raleigh, having returned to your the Brass Jacks hall and summoned some men, you have alerted your superiors of what has happened, and they say that they will be on the lookout for additional creatures, and in fact they have been seeing additional creature movement this night, and several patrols get together to start patrolling the streets, and you are welcome to join one of those if you would like.
Okay. I would like to. I would also, if possible, like to grab at least another reload for my bolt caster if they have them.
Ooh, great question. So
Because I think right now I have a full mag and that's it.
when you go to requisitions to receive more ammunition, you are told that that there is no more. That the refined lumidium required to power the guns has run out, and so what we have is what we have until there's another shipment.
Great.
Gathering a group of men together, you head out into the city, searching for any corrupted creatures or abominations of any type. And I'd like to get from you a vigilant check.
Okay. Am I able to apply my bonus for tracking to this check?
You certainly would be able to do that, yeah.
Awesome possum. All right. Not that it does me a whole lot of good with vigilant, but
What is it supposed to be used for? Cunning?
cunning or vigilant for tracking. It's either one of those.
I would be happy to have either cunning or vigilant. Your choice.
Awesome. Then I will roll cunning. That's an 11,
Hell
baby.
yes, hell yes. Okay, so what? So you opted for cunning. So my understanding is now that Raleigh is a little bit more of a. I mean, his cunning is 11, so he's not a Sherlock Holmes, but like
No.
that's the approach that he takes.
So Raleigh grew up in like basically on the streets, running enforcement for some of the local gangs, and like so has gotten pretty good at like seeing like where people have, say, dodged down an alley to escape him, right, or something like that. So he's sort of picked up a little bit of like how to follow people, things to look for, and just like has a general sense of like when something doesn't feel quite right in the city, just based on living there and experiencing it, and kind of because of the way that he grew up. And yeah, so it's starting to apply those things, as well as he does need to have had. Let me double check the wording of Bloodhound. Oh, it doesn't say that. Okay, so yeah, but like knowing like how these things move and sort of like their like just the way that they kind of operate in space is able to apply that and say, okay, this looks weird. Like a normal person wouldn't do this kind of stuff.
So, Raleigh starts by going to the gate of the university and patrolling the entire fence line. Now, you recall that the fence to the Arcadia University is powered. It is
Yes.
it's an electric fence essentially, and at wrought. Most of it is like wrought iron with it has these like wires basically that are wrapped around it. And in fact, you get to one section of this large fence where you find two of these abominations having been completely fried by the electricity of the system. Their bodies are entangled up. It looks like they were trying to crawl over the fence and got caught halfway up, and their bodies are still clinging there, crispy and burned, and the smell of that burning flesh fills your nose. However, looking closer at the fence, you can see also that the wiring that's wrapped around this wrought iron is ripped up and torn, and something certainly got over. Do you want to inspect the gate further?
Sure. He'll at least lean in to take a closer look to see if the wires look like they were severed.
You got a 1 on this check?
Huh?
You got a 1 on this check?
No, I got an 11.
No, you got a 1.
I'm pretty
I
sure
got a 1?
You
Yeah,
got
the
a 1
result
on this
march.
check.
Oh, I sure did get a 1.
Okay, so you run up to this, like you walk up to this gate, you look at it, yeah, you can see that it's broken. Something has certainly gotten over this, and in fact, you remember hearing a very characteristic hum of this fence when you get close to it, a hum that you no longer hear. Very tentatively, using the back of your hand, you test the wires, and they are dead. This fence, which had been protecting the university, no longer is going to serve that job other than just being a fence. You find the footsteps in the cobblestone, in the muddy areas of some clawed creature, and you track it from one side of the university to the other. It brings you all the way to the market district, and you see that it has gone down there into the sewers below the city. Kind of jumping off.
Lead
Yes.
straight down.
When you get there, you hear the sounds of a scuffle coming from this entrance to the sewer, and in fact, 3 of the Red Guard, bloodied, are up in the market just a little ways down along the river, and they are from the sewers pulling out a limp figure wearing brown like burlap essentially, and dangling around its neck is a wooden mask.
Well, Raleigh's definitely gonna amble on over to that and bring his posse with him and check that out.
Assessing these guys, they are certainly wounded. They've been in quite the fight. It looks like, and you can hear that there's still fighting going on. One of them with a large mustache and big, thick, furry eyebrows kind of squints at you. There's no concern of yours, Brass Jack.
The safety of the city is not my concern, huh? You should tell that to my employers, and I'll be sure to tell you the same. It is my concern.
If you interfere with our operation, you're going to hear about it from those who are in charge of me, and I'm sure that you don't want that.
I don't think either of us wants anything coming down from the top, am I right? Listen, we're not here to start any trouble. We're just here to help if we can. What's the situation?
Okay, I'm gonna need a persuasion check.
Okay.
He really doesn't want to be working with
Fair enough. He is the least persuasive person alive, just so you know.
Excellent. Do you?
I only failed by 1.
Wow.
Wow.
Well,
You the
you
least
almost had him.
persuasive person alive.
Yes, the least persuasive person alive.
He sort
Because
of
he's a cop.
wipes his nose and says, "Look, this is a sensitive operation. I'm sure I'm sure that's something that you understand. But my captain, Jean Declaw, is. I know that there's a rivalry here, and this operation is."
That's
Well,
really interesting you mentioned that your captain's Jean Declaw, because
Look, I
Jean
just know
Declaw-
he doesn't want any of the other companies working with us on this
Well,
one.
that's very interesting, you see, because Jean Declaw came to me just earlier today and told me to investigate the sewers. Very interesting that he doesn't want us here if he specifically told me this is where we should be looking. He did it in a very kind and understanding and, very not dickish sort of way. So I know he had only good intentions. And now here we are, with good intentions.
Fine, if you want to go down there and get yourself killed, it's no skin off my back.
So you're saying if I go down there, I'm going to get killed, huh?
Anything can happen.
Lovely. Well, I'll let you gentlemen be on your way. And if we go down there, any of your compatriots going to cause us any trouble.
Who can say? Sticking your nose where it don't belong.
You should tell your captain you told me that. I'm sure he'll laugh. Well,
so some of your men are like looking back and forth as these guys turn away. One of them has like huge claw marks, like cutting up his back, like just huge gashes. They look back and forth to one another and then to you. They say, Captain, you see that? It's one of those things. Looks like they've got it under control. I don't know if we should go down there.
Oh, we're definitely not going down there. I just really hate the Red God. No,
there's like a visible sigh of relief. Oh, okay. All right. You scared me there, Captain.
Well, don't want anything to be easy for those assholes. Look, you guys, stay up here. Make sure that nothing else comes out of the sewers. Keep an eye out for any more crazies. I'm gonna report back, and we'll take it from there. But do not, and I know you don't want to, so this will be a real easy instruction for you to follow. Do not go down into the sewers, unless you hear it from me, or you hear it from anyone above me. Alright?
That's the kind of order I like to hear.
Perfect. Alright, boys, have a good rest of your night, alright? I'll check in on you in the morning.
Very good. Thank you, Captain.
Right. Raleigh is just gonna... He's not gonna report that to anybody. He's just gonna go back to Caldwell Manor.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. All right. So you return to Caldwell Manor, where Dorian and Alexander are all well. Dorian and Alexander, you return to Caldwell Manor.
So
very tired.
On the way back, I'm going to turn to Alexander and just say, "Go on back. I'll catch up in a moment. There's just one quick thing I'd like to do."
And what might that be?
I want to take another look at the apothecary.
I think that's something you should be doing alone, and while exhausted, I could go for a midnight jaunt.
Alright.
I have your back, Dorian. Come on now.
All right. Well, if you would like to join, that's perfectly fine.
I'll be quiet the whole time.
You find the apothecary quiet and empty, locked as you would expect to find it. Dorian,
I still have
you know
the
where the keys are.
Yeah.
If you don't have them on you, then you know where to get them, and so you're easily able to enter. The little bell rings as you open the door, although inside everything is dark and a little dusty.
Okay. Now, I know the first time that we came in here, there was some sort of ledger or book that Millie had been working with inside the apothecary. Is this still here?
So you know that the books are kept in a desk downstairs.
Okay.
Millie was
that's-
the book of Millie's that was
Oh,
in
that was like
question
her
was
diary?
her diary. Yeah.
Okay. So 2 quick stops that I'd like to do. I would like to just write a quick note to Millie and set it near her diary, respecting her privacy.
Her diary's not there. Like, the
Okay.
reason that her backpack was there was she was so enamored to, like, go on a date with you that she forgot it. Yeah,
all
like, she
right.
left her backpack there.
Well, somewhere that I'd know that she would
Yeah,
find a
sure.
note.
Absolutely.
I just want to write up a quick, like, hey, come and meet me at noon tomorrow when if you have some time. I would like to talk.
Okay.
And the other thing is I would just like to take a quick look at some of the books to see if I can make the connection between what Millie had been telling me about my mother, this backwards business that she's kind of been doing, especially around the tar. And just see if I can discern that, like, Dorian wants credible proof that that's actually happening, and it's not just the word of someone that's admitted to being a spy from
Absolutely.
universe.
Sure. So you, not trusting your girlfriend, head down to verify.
It's more that I don't trust my mother, and I want to know for sure, 100%, that what exactly is the nefarious thing she's been up to.
Got it. You head downstairs and start flipping through the books. I'm going to need a cunning check.
Sure.
Do you imagine that Dorian has spent a lot of time working on books like this, or not?
I mean, probably a fair amount. It definitely wasn't like his main study, but he would have had some practice with it, especially growing up being the child of someone that runs a shop. Like, it's something that he's probably seen before, but not like extensively studied.
Got it. Then I'm gonna have this at -2.
Okay.
Nice.
Crit.
Dorian,
Fuck
you
yeah.
sit down and start poring over ledgers and tomes. There's an abacus down there. You start counting and adding, scribbling small notes to yourself. And after a few minutes, you feel you have a very good understanding of what's going on. Essentially, there is there is an inventory that is being kept, which you assume is black sap. It is being kept separate from the rest of the inventory. It appears that this is coming in regular shipments, including a shipment, the most recent one that arrived the day that Alexander and Anastas saw the Najit coming out of the apothecary.
Checks out.
So confirmation that that she is certainly keeping tally of this. It appears that she is being paid by them, so she's on their payroll in order to house and help distribute the sap. Although, from your understanding of what you're looking at, she does not actually own this stockpile. That she is holding it on behalf of the Najit, and much of the proceeds from the sales to various different noble families, burgers,
Is
etc.,
actually going to
is
someone
going
else.
to somewhere else. Yes. Some of
That's-
it is certainly staying here, but large portions of it are going elsewhere. Now, you also find some debt records, and from your understanding, it seems as though the Najit have acquired the Caldwell family debt, probably buying it out from various other parties, and consolidating it into one place. So you're wondering if maybe the money that is going to this other party is being made to make those debt payments, which would track with what you heard from Mr. Filch and your mother and their concerns
Yes.
about money.
Well, shit. Okay. I'm glad I made this pit stop.
All of a sudden, this became an episode of Spice and Wolf.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Alexander, as you watch Dorian just pore over these documents and like the realizations sink in, like Dorian just becomes more and more visibly distressed.
Alexander will just go to his side and just kind of put a hand on his shoulder.
How did it come to this, Alexander?
I suppose as it always does, but
It always does.
there is still something we can do, and
Well,
we're
now-
doing more than anything, more than anyone has done so far.
All right. Well, let's lock up and go check out that secret passage because I've always wanted to go through.
Now that is the spirit of adventure, my friend.
Yeah, let's go
You lead
find
the
out
way.
where. All right, and I'll lock up the shop, clean up the books, the abacus, and everything. Sweep away my notes, and then we'll make our way through the secret passage to get back to Caldwell Manor.
Excellent. All right. And with that, everyone gets a. I guess I should say, Anastas, was there anything else that you had wished to do with the sheet?
The one thing I wanted to add, I saw an opportunity to add some lore.
Yeah.
Anastas's prayer was specifically old. It's not a common form of prayer, and it is also rare to petition the pilgrim directly. Most often, prayer is centered around either the works of the Orthodoxy or the pontiff himself. So this would have been a unique prayer to those in attendance.
Excellent. Did you want to have a further conversation with Crispin at all about anything?
Crispin, is that what we decided that it is?
No, I have no idea what his name is.
I think it actually. I mean, it's Crispin's curiosities.
Okay, it's Crispin's curiosity, so it cannot be Crispin because Crispin's the
cannot
guy
be
that's upstairs. Okay, I'm gonna solve this problem once and for all because I have written this down.
Anastas does want to take this opportunity that they have not been raided. Anastas does want to ask for access to the good doctors.
Constantine. I knew it was a C.
Constantine. Of course it was Constantine. What an Ajit name.
Yes.
Good patron. Constantine. I left you with a bit of an ominous warning saying that the mercenaries policing this town may find themselves here. Horatio has made himself a character of interest.
Yes.
To better protect him, I do wish to acquire some of the evidence of your doings that may reside in his dwelling, I would acquiesce that you do the same.
You to the apartment above the curiosity shop.
Yes.
Very well. I will take you there. This was not what I expected, but I do have that encounter somewhere. No, I have a check mark here. Okay. Got it. Okay. All right. So in the apartment above the curiosity shop, Constantine leads you there, and he pulls a key out and unlocks the door, leading you inside. The apartment itself is sparse. Various medical supplies are kept in a bag on a table that is near the window. The bed is very clean and neat, as if it has not been touched. There is a copy of a text sitting on the desk as well. And that is about it. Yeah.
Tell me, good Constantine, now that we are here together, by what sorcery does Horatio disguise himself? I have not seen. I'm assuming I haven't seen such a tactic.
You have not seen such a tactic before.
I
In
know the
fact-
theurgy of the Najit is strong, but I did not think such a thing was possible. Outside of her.
It is a rather complicated procedure. Horatio has a, shall we say, a suit, which he dons, a suit of flesh. By combining this with his prayers and this, and he holds up a small purple vial of twilight tincture. This keeps the flesh fresh, free from decay, such that he can don it and make himself appear human.
I've seen that before. At the apothecary.
Yes.
Is that the means by which you acquire it?
Yes. It is part of our deal with the Caldwell woman.
That is interesting. By what knowledge did you come? By what means did you come about this knowledge? I've not heard of a man wearing skin since, well, Ratcatcher Nadim assassinated the king of the men.
Yes.
There's not much here, but Anasas slowly lumbers over to the text on the desk.
Yeah. The on the desk is a copy of the Najit Holy Text. What is the Najit Holy Text?
The Najit Holy Text is a series of poems.
Whoa. Okay. Sorry.
Oh,
It's
it's okay.
not the music.
The Najit Holy Text as it would be released, I'm assuming maybe there's a first and a second edition. Which one are we looking at?
I would assume that this is the first edition.
The first edition. The first edition is hymnals and poems of the story of the Pilgrim and the story of how the Najit came into power, the fall of Karstadt. It is both a historical, like compendium as much as it is a set of prayers and an educational tool for young Najit.
Excellent. And what is the second volume like?
The second, I'm assuming, was written by the pontiff himself as the new word of the Pilgrim.
Aha. Okay, so this is absolutely first edition, hymnals and poems, and it is open. It is lying open on the desk to the very end of hymnals and poems, which is a section describing the return of the pilgrim.
I see Horatio follows the old texts.
He is as much a historian as a doctor.
You would do well to heed these words. I find it a blessing that one such as him has led us to this point. For you know the end of this text, do you not?
I do.
Then you know the time of the return is soon upon us.
Anastas, can I get a cunning check?
Ooh, yeah. It's not good. But we'll make it. We'll make it. Oh!
You guys are crushing it
Unbelievable.
on these rolls today. Yes.
You rolled a 2.
Anastas, as you're sort of talking to Constantine, you look down at the text. It has been a very long time since you have read this section.
Yeah.
And it strikes you that the language here is ambiguous. It's more ambiguous than you remember it being.
Yeah, I probably haven't read this since I became a Pravoslav. So
Yeah,
this has
right,
been a
right.
long...
It is ambiguous to the point that you are wondering if it is talking about the return of the pilgrim or if there is going to be a new pilgrim.
Anastas picks it up. As he was talking to Constantine, he's like fingering the lines, humming the poems as it returns to Anastas's mind, and then stops for a moment towards the end. This is curious. Constantine,
Yes.
what do you make of the final poem?
Constantine tilts his head back and forth as he reads it. The pilgrim is to return to us. Or, well, perhaps the pilgrim will be reincarnated. Do you think that this means that the pilgrim is dead? Or that their first form has been destroyed and that they will take a new form? Or perhaps there will be a new pilgrim altogether. I do not know.
Anastas claps the book shut. This ponderance may be for wiser minds than ours.
If only Horatio were here. Where could he have gone?
Anastas knows where the doctor was taken, or we know who took him.
Yes.
Other than this, there is no evidence in this room that the doctor is anything but. So I will take custody of this tome.
And perhaps the Twilight Tincture as well. I will bring this down and keep it safe with us.
Yes. Yes. If this hall, if this shop is to be molested by the gods, find yourself and your comrades in the cistern with misguided children.
Yes, of course.
And stay there until I retrieve you.
We will do this.
Do your best in the time being to disguise your work in the basement. I have no advice for how, but do try to remove the marks of the Najit from thy walls. Can you do this, Constantine?
It is our sanctuary.
I understand, but you are no good to me crumpled to dust.
Very well. I will do it.
Do this, and I promise you, we will return to the Holy Land someday, and it will be whole.
If you say it, then I am sure that it is true.
You have my word on the pilgrim, the orthodoxy, and my holy form as a Pravoslav, Constantine. I know our path is true.
Very good.
Stay strong, and you know what? I've sparked inspiration. Take your sanctuary and move it to the small space above our brothers and sisters in the cistern. Pray before them, and here, read them from this tome. And he hands Constantine the tome. I trust you, and trust me to return Horatio.
I'm struggling right now because if this was a human, I know exactly what this reaction would look like, but he's not human. Oh, he's still no, but he still has like half a face. He's a young Najit. Okay.
Yeah.
So his one remaining eye goes wide, and tears start like welling in it and pouring down, and he genuflects before you, and says, "Yes, thank you, Anastas. I will spread the word as I am able to."
The great knight of the wheel will not fail you,
Then
and
I
you will not fail
you.
us. Thank you. And I will take my leave to Caldwell Manor.
Excellent.
Did I heal
Right.
my 1d4?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone heals one, if you need to, or the 1d4.
Oh, we got a 4.
Hey!
And then I heal, and then I make a resolute check.
Yes.
Temporary corruption goes away, correct?
Temporary corruption does go away, yes.
Beautiful.
And then my resolute check is... Oh, I did fail the resolute.
Okay, so you take 1d4 temporary corruption for the next day.
And I will... And it's only a 1.
Wow.
Oh man,
That went about as good as it could have. Oh, that's not what I need to do.
listening to that, had like a crazy brainwave.
Crazy brainwave?
Yeah.
What does that
Because,
mean?
like, okay. Cast your mind back
Okay.
to the session, like the first session of the second adventure.
Yep.
When Alexander got lost in the woods
Yep.
and
Memories.
got shown a
Get it?
memory by that thing of, as I recall, like a young girl, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What if that wasn't the original Pilgrim, which is what I thought it was at the time?
That
What
is
if that
also
is
what
the
I thought.
rebirth of the Pilgrim using
Ooh.
a shard of Isho's soul?
This is an interesting theory. I'm not ruling out that wasn't a memory of the original onset.
Oh yeah,
but,
no. It could still totally be. It would
but that
totally
is
match.
a very interesting. So where my head is at is that the new Pilgrim might be Anastas.
How so?
Hear me out. So Anastas had a vision of the death of the Pilgrim.
Sure.
That
Wait,
demon.
did we
may
know
have
that?
been
I
What's
don't know
that?
if I knew that.
Oh, you might not have known. So Anastas' vision was of the death of the Pilgrim, and Anastas was the only Najit left in existence.
Gotcha. Didn't know
And-
that.
Yes, and I think that demon is perhaps a vestige of Isho.
Interesting.
And if that entered the original Pilgrim, Anastas now has a portion of Isho's soul as well. So
Interesting.
that is where my head is at. Is that it might be
that could very well be too. That makes
could very well be
a lot
as
of
well.
sense.
But I am very interested in that theory as well. I have a lot of stirrings about what's going on surrounding that whole situation. Part of me thinks that demon is like Isho's shadow.
I'm kind of curious about the whole connection between the Pilgrim and Isho in general.
Yeah,
too.
totally. Absolutely.
Because they've kind of mirrored in a lot of different ways. That's popped up, like what you guys were just talking about.
I love Patrick's like neutral face when we're like spinfoil hatting. He like does his best to keep his face like totally impassive, but he's also kind of like oh yeah, this is so great, guys. Like that's
thank you for writing the campaign for me.
That's
awesome.
I didn't think of that. That's good.
Anyway,
Anyways,
I was just sitting here
it deserved a bit of a
was like, oh my god, what if this is what's happening?
No, and that was I did not think about that. I did not put that together. So I just like, would the Pilgrim be another young girl? Is
the question, right?
Is the question. So, but I think that demon is old and is connected to Isho and was like activated by Isho's death.
Well, it could be connected to any of the
it could
number of the because like
sure.
I got a very mother vibe off of it, weirdly.
Well,
I don't know if it connects that well, but I don't know why. But as soon as it popped up and was described, I was like, that sounds like something that the mother would have.
Sure, but hear me out. If it created the Najit, it created the only fighting force on Aokai Island capable of taking down their own creation, the Hadra.
That's true. If that's how it worked, right? Like,
If
we don't know that's how that worked. We don't know if the Ioka had any hand in the first Pilgrim at all.
At all. Yeah, that's true. That is true. But whatever created the Pilgrim has, in my opinion, hostility to the Hadra. Or it has something to do with the darkness and of man, and that's how it manifested. It was like an unintentional consequence.
Did Stone tell you guys his vision? Do you remember? I don't remember if I told you
I
guys or not.
don't think you did. I think
I
you
don't
chose
think
not.
he did either, which is problematic.
Yeah. And Anastas only briefly mentioned that. But,
Okay, because we're gonna have a lot of things to talk about.
yeah,
when
yeah.
Stone
Anyhow,
joins the party.
I return to Caldwell.
Stone's vision was one of my favorite pieces of writing. I loved it so much. Okay, all right. We are now going to get to the section of today's session that is the beginning of my planning.
Okay.
You thought we
I
were
was
gonna
say,
do
I
this
wouldn't
in
be
2
concerned about
fucking
time
hours.
with us, man. Just
You were worried about time.
You
And all of
should
us
know us
dumbasses
better.
are like, let's wander off and do
I haven't
random
even
shit.
done
Whatever the
shit.
fuck
I
we
was ready
want
to
before the
fucking
session
hunt
starts.
people. I was
Yeah.
ready for the most dangerous game of all.
Yeah. I mean, we started at 7. Just an hour to get on track. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. That's like record time.
Yeah.
What do I have that's okay? We're just gonna do this. I'm at the point where I've got so much music in here, but I don't know what any of it sounds like. So I'm like going
Ain't
based
that a
off of
bitch?
titles, and it's like, this sounds like it would be doing. So now I've got like 6 of them that like I know kind of what it sounds like, and so I'm defaulting to them. So regardless of having 250 songs, I'm using 6. Okay. Alexander.
Wow.
You are standing in the streets of Arcadieva. A cool wind blows through you, ruffling your cloak and sending a shiver through you. Above, storm clouds threaten. The low murmur of far-off thunder and flashes of dim lightning fill the narrow street. Then you hear shouts. You hear people running. You turn, and behind you a crowd rushes past, bumping and elbowing you, fleeing a great disturbance in the air above the street. Bolts of electricity arc from it, and it shimmers in the dim, dusky twilight. A tear in reality. Beyond it lies blackness so deep and complete, you feel yourself being absorbed by it. Your legs and arms struggle to pull you away, but instead you are being drawn towards it, pulled into the blackness. Everything rumbles and quakes, but silently, as if the air has been pulled from the room. You open up your mouth to scream, but you cannot. You cannot even breathe to gasp. You choke on the nothingness around you. Mirrors and reflections warp around you, unfolding, bending reality, and you feel yourself unfolding into pieces as the street around you disappears and you are engulfed in the black, lonely emptiness of the void, suspended in darkness, unable to move, unable to breathe, lost to time forever. You awaken with a start to the bright rays of the sun and sit bolt upright, only to realize you are no longer in your bed in Caldwell Manor, but naked, covered in only a thin sheet on the roof, but inches away from the edge. The wind blows through the sheet and sends a shiver down your spine.
I'd imagine that's not ominous. He'll rise from that and kind of monkey climb his way back into Caldwell Manor.
Dorian, what are you? What's your morning routine look like?
walking around in a robe, getting some tea, maybe having like a slice of orange or something in the morning.
Yeah, Dorian is like walking down the hall. He's got like a cup of tea in his hand. He's got like a big fluffy robe on, like his slippers. He lets out a big yawn and he turns to see the Alexander's ass naked as he's like climbing in from the window. He's like bending over. You're just getting full ass.
No, I'm just going to pretend that nothing ominous just happened.
Hello, Dorian. he'll turn around as he's climbing fully in. Oh, apologies there. Adjusts his cloth, I guess.
Alexander, I have to be honest. Out of all the people I've known, you are one of the last ones that I would be imagining sneaking into a window naked rather than out.
I thank you for that compliment. However, I will say that I was not outside of my own volition, and you didn't hear anything in the night, did you?
Did I hear anything in the night?
You slept like a baby.
Like
No.
So, like, getting up every 2 hours, screaming, crying.
Needing some
I couldn't
body
I couldn't
temperature
hear
milk.
much over my incessant wailing, but
I don't know why I was outside, and the dream I had paired with it is a bit concerning. Seems like things like this are just bound to happen around since the prison.
what sort of dream? And for the love of God, just keep the sheet up a little more, please.
Apologies. He'll shuffle over to get some pants on and start working those towards his waist as he tells Dorian what he can remember from the dream and waking up on the edge of the roof.
Hmm.
I'm having more
Dorian?
of these visions.
Upon hearing about your dream, drops his cup of tea as his own memories go back to the same vision that he had of Arcadia swallowed in darkness and a lightning storm perpetually going on around it.
He tells Alexander this.
Yes.
I was wondering if there was a bit more than that. Well, it seems like you and I have received some sort of vision of a certain future, an unknown future. Whatever it is, it's certainly tied to us.
I had only
specifically.
witnessed it from the outside. What do you remember? You said it was some sort of like a planet gateway that had opened in the sky.
Was it similar to the DM? Was this similar to
That's
the
what I'm hinting at.
portal?
It was
Yeah,
exactly the same.
exactly the
Yeah,
same.
Yeah.
To the T.
In fact, like when your thinking of the dream was just that, like, seeing that thing freaked you out, and so it's showing up in your dreams.
Now hearing it, Dorian talk about it, it's
Now
a
you're
little
like,
bit
wait
more
a fucking second.
to the T. I'm afraid.
We need to have a talk with that professor.
Whatever he's doing seems to be dealing with the fabric of reality in a way that I don't think he's ready for.
I don't think anyone is ready for something like that.
Can Arcadia survive this? Is this a vision of what's to come or what may come?
Well, with the current state of things, is Arcadia even surviving what it's already been through?
A good question.
I mean, we just witnessed half a school go completely mad, and we know almost half of the population is infected by now with this corruption. And if that thing, that rift that opened, is somehow driving the people insane, I mean...
I can tell you if something like that happens in or near the chapel, the city will not survive. There are too many corrupted within those walls.
Guys,
And-
Patrick just had the face again.
I know you did. There are too many infected within those walls, and if what we saw in the dorms were to happen in the heart of the city, top of what comes out of that fucking rift,
or whatever's in it. We need to talk to that professor.
Patrick, you stop rolling dice.
How terrible that would be.
How terrible
Stop
indeed.
it. You stop it.
I do believe it would be good to talk with the professor. I also worry about the Reverend Bridget, the missing Horatio. These things are all connected, it seems, in some sort of way. The masks. The city is ready to tear itself apart.
It already is.
Do we focus the professor or the chapel first? I suppose is the question. And how do we...
The thought that goes through both of your heads is that maybe Raleigh and Anastas need to be looped into this conversation.
That was going to be my next sentence. And how do we get Raleigh and Anastas to help us?
Did they not
Raleigh
come
seems
home
to be
last
tied to
night?
your mother. Well, no, I don't know. They didn't... Well,
Downstairs, you can hear Crawley, not Crawley.
Mr. Crowley!
You can hear the butler letting Anastas into the front door.
Mr. Filch.
There is our skeleton man. Shall we go meet
Raleigh
him?
and his evil twin brother,
Raleigh.
Crawley.
Crowley.
He's a Najit.
Oh, don't tell you guys I had a brother who was also a bone man.
Jesus.
Twins, but
Oh.
only in bone structure.
We were
Lord.
conjoined, but when he became a skeleton, it sort of just severed us.
As you do.
Okay, so
Raleigh is definitely down in the kitchen drinking like his third or fourth cup of coffee.
Before
Dorian
we
will-
go down, before we go down,
Coffee.
Alexander pulls Dorian aside. Raleigh is very tied to your mother. I know this. Do you trust him? I've trusted him thus far, but we are dealing with things. You see what I mean? You've seen what, I hate to say it, but your family has been up to.
What are you insinuating that has to do with Raleigh?
He's told to follow orders. I've dealt with people like that before. It's not easy.
Have you now?
I loved Patrick's face there too.
cops are pigs, man.
Hey, cab, yo.
Alexander, let me put it to you this way. I still trust you, and you are the man that just climbed through my window, buck naked, to tell me about a dream you just had. So, yes, I suppose I would trust Raleigh. He's helped keep us safe, and well, I haven't seen him do anything nefarious myself, so why shouldn't I?
Alexander grins and adjusts Dorian's collar a little bit. There. Let me get dressed and let's go convene with our compatriots.
Raleigh is in the breakfast nook on his about third cup of coffee. Like, his hands are shaking already. Anastas has just been let in by Mr. Filch, and Oscar Caldwell, Dorian, your father, is there pouring himself a glass of orange juice. He looks very tired. But he smiles at you and just says, "Morning. Would you like some orange juice?"
Oh, I would love some, Father. Thank you.
And he pours you some. You convene at the breakfast table over some baked goods that are just not as good as they used to be.
Oh my god, no.
Aw.
Not Mike's muffins. Never again. Dorian doesn't touch them.
Raleigh eats like 4 of them.
Alexander does want to be a good guest, but is not as impressed as he was hoping to be. Really was talked up more than he's seeing.
Father, did you hear anything about events at the academy last night?
No,
Are you all right?
I'm fine.
Anastas like pats
Was
him
it- was
firmly
that-
on the neck.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I told you not to eat any more of those muffins, Father. It's like a desert in your mouth. They're hazardous to your health.
They're still mass produced.
Yes,
It's just a shame.
I know.
Still better than rations.
Amen.
No news has come from there at all?
No.
Well.
Haven't heard anything.
I do.
Oh.
But, and he kind of like side eyes your dad. Like,
Don't mind me. And he gets his orange juice and he grabs another, he sneakily grabs another muffin with trying to avoid Dorian's gaze, and he starts tottering off. He takes a bite and then coughs again into his shoulder.
Put muffins
I'm so sorry.
in the bin where they belong, Father.
He's hastening as quickly as he can away.
I told you that your father is a delightful person.
He's wonderful.
He really is.
Anyway,
Truly.
so, couple things. First, I went to inspect the fence around the perimeter of the university last night to see if there were any of those lunatics that had gotten free into the city. And believe it or not, my God, he just really loves those muffins, doesn't he?
In fact, he will not stop coughing, and it gets worse and worse. And after
Dorian
a
is
moment, you
already
hear a
sliding up.
thud.
Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me, Pat.
Oh.
You
No.
rush into the hallway where Oscar is lying on the ground, coughing uncontrollably in fits and bursts. He's getting purple in the face.
Okay.
Mother
and
bitch!
he starts spitting up black, corrupted bile. You can see now that there are sores covering his neck. And fog has filled up his eyes.
Alexander,
Gets immediately to work.
get
Raleigh picks him up. He's like, where do we need him?
get him to the apothecary immediately.
Sybil is there in a moment. You did not hear her, you did not see her, but as you are picking him up, she has his other shoulder, and she's up to the bedroom. And
Yes,
she helps you carry him all the way to his bed. And as you lay him down, she looks at you and she says, "You will do two things in this order. You will find Mr. Filch. You will fetch him, and he bring bandages and water and my bag from the apothecary shop. Then you will go into my office and you will wait there for me. Do you understand?" She's talking to Raleigh right now.
Oh, she's talking to Raleigh
She's-
specifically.
Yes, to Raleigh.
Yes, Mom.
Raleigh, I will be much faster going to the apothecary. I will fetch the bag.
Go.
Dorian,
enough
go
that.
help him.
Rocket.
Alexander gets to work immediately with anything he can do with the father.
Very good. Can you roll a cunning check for me? Yes,
Sure.
Raleigh? Don, you were saying something?
No, my headset was free.
Oh, okay. Sure. Okay. Let's see how she does. Oh, okay. So you are like you're like moving to bandage the wounds. She has him sitting up, and she slaps your hand away. She says, "Don't worry about that right now. We need to get him breathing again. Come on, darling. Come on." And she starts like pounding his back. And he is like spitting up blood. She grabs your hand and motions for you to use the bandages to like catch the black bile that he's spitting up. And with her literal crit, I literally rolled a crit.
Thank God.
He coughs and like a huge amount of this black shit comes out into the bandages, and he takes a deep breath and starts breathing again. And the color fades away from his face. There, darling. There. She lays him down. Meanwhile, Raleigh. So Anastas, you are running to the apothecary to get the bag.
Yeah, I run down the stairs, passing Mr. Filch. I quickly start at him and say, "What does the bag look like at the apothecary?"
It's black with white and gold trim.
And that's enough for Anastas. Throws the door open and runs as fast
Raleigh
as he
is down like on his heels, like grabs Filch and says, "Where are the medical supplies on site?"
Yes. This way. Oh,
Madam Caldwell needs
dear.
them right away.
Oh, this is the third time this month.
Third time this month. Third time this month.
Yes.
Later. Come on.
Yes. Here. And he fetches some water, and the bandages and some towels and things.
Raleigh
and
gathers up everything that he can carry, to help Filch get there as soon as he can.
Yeah, absolutely. Anastas, give me a vigilant check.
Vigilant check. Okay.
Mhm.
With a plus because he knows what the bag looks like.
Sure, +2. Love it.
Yay.
Hell yeah!
Dealt with
All
this
right.
stuff. Yay.
So you run through the secret tunnel, get into the apothecary. You see it immediately. You grab it, turn around, head back, and everything is brought to the bedroom, where now Oscar is lying, and his face is pale. And his eyes are closed, and Sybil now has a wet cloth on his forehead, and she takes a deep breath. I think that it's time that we give him time to rest. She thank you. And she takes the bag from you, and she rummages through, and pulls out a small poultice that she starts applying to the wounds. Everyone out of this room except for Mr. Raleigh.
Anastas walks out and grabs what I'm assuming to be an apprehensive Dorian by the shoulder.
His jaw has just been dropped. While everyone has been running around, Dorian's mind has been spinning and spinning. All of this time researching all of these different things, and so much knowledge in it, and not a thing he was able to do when his father broke down like this. And he just is slowly let out.
Alexander
He's
leaves
catatonic.
Caldwell Manor.
Anastas puts a finger gently under Dorian's chin, closing your mouth and lifting your face up towards him. Dear friend, I see you are shocked, and I'm sure you are feeling many things. But your mother had the composure and the knowledge. She knows what is happening, and she will make your father well, and then we will learn more. Okay, my friend?
He just weakly gives a very slight nod.
And I just like gently embrace you.
He's limp throughout it, and then just sits down in the hall outside of the room.
Mr. Raleigh,
Mom,
you are going to right now give me an update as to your search for the good doctor and the red mask.
well, Mom, I was just about to start explaining that situation to our merry companions as the good sir had his episode. I think I know where they are, and if they aren't where I think they are, then it'll lead us in the right direction. I was going to lead us there post-haste this morning.
That is good to hear, Mr. Raleigh. Now tell me why you have been lying to me.
Mom,
Ooh.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Mr. Raleigh, you have one opportunity right now to tell me why you have been lying to me and to come clean. And if you do not, I can assure you that not only will you be out of a job, but most likely without your head. What was the reason that my home was able to be invaded 3 nights ago?
Well, Mom, what do you know? I think I can fill in the gaps.
I know that someone opened the door to my apothecary, and I know that that is how they came in. And the rumor is that that person was you.
It was.
Why?
Because, Mom, I've lived in the city a long time. A very long time. And there are people here who are trying to change the way that this city has been that whole time. And I wanted to help them. And I can tell you right now, for reasons you can understand and for reasons you can't, that I regret that decision very deeply. So, when I tell you that I am doing everything that I can to find the people responsible, that is true.
All right. Mr. Raleigh, you have erred egregiously, and your judgment leaves much to be desired. But I can see that you are a good man. Foolish, perhaps, but I am offering you a chance to learn and redeem yourself. You have until tomorrow morning to bring me Dr. Wainwright and the Red Mask, or you will be out of a job. Do you understand?
I do.
Good. Now go. And take my son. I'm sure that he will be of help to you.
Raleigh will kind of just give like a small bow and will see himself out.
As you walk out, you see your second in command. His name is Josiah.
Josiah, I was going to say, I think it starts with a J.
Yep. Josiah is standing like next to the door, and he nods as you go past. Sorry, sir.
He like leans over to Josiah and just says, "You did the right thing."
Thank you, sir.
And he'll walk away.
All right. What do you guys want to do next?
Well, Raleigh, finding all of the folk in this group sitting in the hallway, just says, "We're going on a trip right now.
And where would that be, good captain?
The sewers, where all of this has been leading.
Finally find where the good doctor is.
The
I'm
good
sorry,
doctor, the masks, everything that's going on in this city, I think, is leading us that way."
Nastas picks the wheel up off the ground, straps it to its back, and says, "I will follow you this day."
Raleigh,
Dorian,
Why the sewers? What have you
because
found?
where else would all the filth that is wrapped up in this situation end up?
I appreciate the metaphor. I mean, literally, why are we going to the sewers?
I do not think it is a metaphor. I find the captain's logic passes muster. Anything else would be easily searchable, discoverable.
And the Red Guard have a head start.
and the two of them will be down there.
That's right.
I figured as much.
Dorian, I'm going to tell you something. You've never heard of your father having anything happen like this before, have you?
This is the first time.
It's not.
The first time that I've been made aware.
Speak plainly, Raleigh.
He developed the sickness some few months ago. It's been afflicting him since. Thankfully, we have a large store of the black sap incense. The Dr. Wainwright had been treating him.
Oh.
So it's even more important that we find the good doctor.
Yes, some people, it seems, just draw the illness to them. I wonder how long he can fight it off. Especially with the doctor missing.
We will find Horatio, and we will get our good Mr. Caldwell heals, and we will find a way to cure the city.
Before you go, the headmaster has requested your presence again at the university. Some
The headmaster can bite my shiny metal
urgent
ass.
matter based on the events of last night. I'm not sure, it was very vague.
We don't have time.
I would agree.
Okay. Sounds good. We are going to take a 5-minute break. And we're back. Talon, at the break, I heard you said that you wanted to do something else quick before we leave.
What?
No, he had a spin foil hat theory.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. I got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
which we discussed.
Yeah.
Excellent. As well, you should. Okay. So, where are you guys headed?
To
Sewers.
the sewers,
Right.
which apparently Raleigh knows how to access.
Well, he was just there.
Ah, yeah.
Raleigh leads you across town towards the market district. On your way, you pass through St. Aveline's Cathedral Square. And as you enter the damp, muddied square of St. Aveline's Cathedral, you are startled by the presence of a hastily constructed gallows in the center. 3 fresh bodies hang from it, swaying and spinning listlessly in the wind. They are covered in blood and mud and bruises and have been stripped entirely naked, except for their heads, each of which is covered in a plain, unadorned wooden mask. The square is otherwise empty and quiet, much more empty and quiet than you have seen it before.
Do any of the folks swinging on the gallows look like the person that I saw the Red Guards manhandling the previous night?
In fact, yes. The one in the center, you are positive is the person that they pulled out of the sewers last night.
Okay. Well, that poor sod in the middle is the one I saw them dragging up out of here last night, so, again, I think we're in the right place.
Seems like they know that the cathedral is part of this all, hey?
Maybe.
Go find this
Or
doctor.
it's just a convenient place to show all the good people on their way to church what happens when you're not such a good person.
Convenient indeed.
All right. You make your way the rest of the distance to the market square. The market square is busy and bustling, and as you approach that sewer grate entrance, which is near the river, your 2 lieutenants who you'd left here quickly stand up and head over to you. One of them is quite tall and thin. The other is shorter and more rotund. And the tall one's eyes are big and wide, and the short one is trembling a little bit. Captain?
Boys.
Well, we've got quite the report for you. Seen some things I didn't never expect to see here before.
Tell me.
Maybe you want to sit down.
No, I certainly don't.
Walk and talk.
Suit yourself. So the Red Guard, they pulled at least 3 masks out of there. They were beat up, something bloody.
The gods.
There must have been, the gods. There must have been some sort of beast down there. But I know it was down there because after they left just before dawn, we saw it. It crawled out of the sewers, and it was one of those things, just like we've seen before, but bigger, just like the one that was at Caldwell a few nights ago. Huge. And then
Use your words.
it sort of started twitching, and spasming, and then it started shrinking, and by the time that was done, it was a guy. It was just a guy. It's just.
Whoa.
Did you detain this guy?
I was shitting my pants, sir. So we just
Fair
watched.
enough.
We just watched him, and he headed back up that way towards the cathedral.
What did this man look like?
It was pretty dark. It was right before morning. It was a thin, small guy, and he had this sort of this red hair.
Any idea how old he was?
He looked like a young guy.
Have you heard any news about where the
Wait.
doctor is?
No. No, they didn't pull a doctor out.
The creature that attacked Caldwell Manor escaped.
Yeah.
Wait.
And
It stands to reason this is not another one of those, but the very same perpetrator.
Red
could be.
hair.
He said it was much larger.
No, it was larger than the normal ones. It was big like that other one.
My instinct tells me it was one and the same, meaning that creature was not some wild animal released, but a planned attacker.
Lieutenant,
Someone
Yeah.
control over their corruption.
you said it was thin, like a young man.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Could it have been a woman?
Yeah, I guess it could have been.
Right.
Alexander eyes Raleigh.
Right.
I don't think Anastas has ever seen Bridget.
Yeah, he has. He was at the
Oh, yeah?
at the soiree.
Wasn't Bridget
And-
still there when this happened, though?
No, she wasn't.
She was.
Oh, she
She
was.
was.
She
She
Oh,
I
was.
was
okay.
gonna say, I'm pretty sure.
I
she,
thought that
like,
I thought that we didn't see her after this thing showed up.
Does she have a sibling? Raleigh?
She does not.
I was gonna say
That you
Raleigh
know.
would know,
She
but
does not
so
that you
would
know of.
Dorian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also something to say that something
How
else hasn't
common is
happened in the
red hair?
meantime.
in Arcadia. Just
How common is it?
yeah.
I would say approximately as common as it is
Okay.
here. So it's like not
Not like
not
unheard
everyone,
of.
but like not unheard of. Yeah.
Hmm.
Alexander
went
still
towards the-
quietly.
Chapel. Yes.
Yeah. They headed back to the chapel. Well, at least in that direction. We didn't.
How
follow.
general of a direction is that?
Well, we just walked here from there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I would call like it's maybe 5 blocks from here to there.
But it is clear, like a direct, like it's not like
Yeah.
we're
Like
on
there's
the
a
other
there's
street
a
that
there's
you
a
would go
street.
down.
There's a big street that goes from here
Yeah.
to there. Yeah.
I don't like the smell of this.
Raleigh, are
This
you
is
sure that that doctor?
unheard
The
of.
tall
down
one
in
says,
the woods?
that's just the sewers.
Boy, I will slap you silly.
some human has power over their corrupted form.
They sure do.
I must pray on this. I have no words.
So, we got 2 options. Stay here, go into the sewers and see what we can find, or go to the chapel and see if we can find the signs of whatever this monster is and where
We
it might
believe
be
the doctor to be in the sewers, and
We have most reason to believe that he's in the sewers and
and
not in the
Dorian,
chapel.
father, is in desperate need of his care.
Yes, right.
We know that the creature has control of its powers, and we know that the creature is not in the sewers. I say we take this opportunity now.
How
That's
long
good.
ago was this, soldier?
They finished up just after midnight. The creature left just before dawn.
This may be imprudent in Arcadavian culture, but my instincts would tell me, Captain Rowley, that you should begin detaining individuals matching that description.
No, we should. There's nothing wrong with that. So he looks back at the 2 lieutenants and says, "You're relieved? I want you to cycle a squad back to this location as soon as you get back to headquarters. I want you to give the description to every officer and have it disseminated through headquarters. Start detaining people with red hair who match the description of what you saw. Clear?
Clear.
Right.
All right.
And make sure that they know to be on the lookout for something crazy."
Always Asa.
Right.
Thanks.
All right, off you go.
They salute and leave. The
Some guards are going to end up turned into pudding in a holding cell.
Probably. But at least it'll be in a holding cell and not in the street.
Sure.
True.
The entryway to the sewer system here is basically a drain that leads out into the river, and you're able pretty easily to lower yourself onto it. There is a latch so that you can open to get to enter it. A awful odor emanates from within. You are right now standing in about 3 inches of sludge that is slowly pouring around your ankles and out into the river. What do you want your marching order to be?
Well,
You know who's
probably
on his own?
Anastas in the front, but
I was gonna say either Anastas or Raleigh.
oh, who's got the highest vigilance? Let's do it classic.
Raleigh certainly doesn't.
Was it
Unless-
Anastas? Did everyone else dump that stat that hard?
I have a
Raleigh.
10.
I have
Is there a stat that Anastas didn't dump?
What is
I don't
Alexander's
want that.
vigilance? I feel like
No.
he might have high.
No, it's actually pretty. Not pretty low, but it is 9. It is lower.
Oh.
Mine's only 7.
I dumped discreet, cunning, and accurate,
Right.
which I feel like
A
Makes
10?
sense.
Stone and Anastas and Dorian are all tied at 10 for vigilant. Oh, this is stellar.
well, then I'm the
do
strongest
wish-
one.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
have. Do I have the most
But-
health at 9?
The other thing that I'll say is that Raleigh can track using cunning, and has a
Hmm.
bonus to do so.
So then Raleigh and Nastas, or I could take up the rear guard.
I would say you should take rear guard, and Raleigh will go
Okay.
first because Raleigh's.
then-
I mean, he's not had to take a hit yet, but he's got man at arms, so his armor is
Sure.
better than most.
And you guys
how
could
does
move behind
how does
me.
Raleigh, Dorian, Alexander, Anastas sound?
Well,
Sounds
Alexander's
good
always
enough
going
to
to
me.
be discreet.
All right,
so
let's
there
do
is
that.
Okay.
But you could
Anastas-
probably hide behind me if you needed to.
Anastas, you getting into the sewer are having to hunch quite a bit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you any penalties to it, but if we get into some weird situations, just know that like you're
Yeah.
taking up
I
this
almost
whole
imagine, given my freakishly long arms and legs and my undead body, it's disturbing, it's uncanny to you guys. But Anastas is known to take a quadrupedal pose
Mm,
and does begin walking like one.
yes, excellent.
Spooky.
You guys,
My head floating over Anastas or Alexander's head, like own while he walks.
in
I don't like
what are the like giant quadrupedal skeletons in Dark Souls?
Sort of like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
like in
that's
the,
what I'm
the
thinking.
giants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, yeah.
Don't like that.
All right, so you guys head into the sewers. It is not difficult, Raleigh, for you to immediately see a trail of blood that like alongside the sides of this sewer passageway. And as you get farther in, you do find a small ledge that you can kind of get up on that takes you out of the sludge itself. And from there, it is easier to find the blood trail. Could you give me that vigil? It's going to be a vigilant check this time because
Okay.
you see it and now you're just following it.
Got it.
You can use your tracking, however.
Got it. I still succeed.
You certainly do, sir. So you follow the blood trail through some twists and turns. It is labyrinthine down here, and as you get further and further in, the stonework gets older, and it is clear, as has been discussed, that Arcadia has been built on top of a much older a much older city.
With
Human
my
City or Hadron?
Hadron.
Right, I
with
forgot you
my
told me that.
cartographer skill, would I be able to at least attempt to keep like a general direction, like where we would be in the city, like what direction we're heading?
Yes, I will allow you to, if you want to make a cunning check for me, sketch a quick map just of like the turns that you made, and roughly the degree, and that will also tell you what direction you are moving in.
All right.
Let's see it, buddy.
Any modifiers besides the +1 from cartographer?
No.
Okay. Good.
Excellent.
This is like the best rolling we've ever had, by the way.
Speak
Yeah,
for
it's
yourself.
been pretty crazy.
Oh, perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. Okay. So Dorian, your map, you seem to be headed sort of towards the center of town. And you get, following the blood trail, you get to a storage area, like a sub-basement below a basement. There are old crates and barrels and things, and it is clear that this is the place that the battle had happened the night before. There are broken crates and barrels, spattered blood, and in fact, as you round a corner, you come upon the crumpled frame of a hairy, grotesque, clawed abomination, which lies dead in a pool of its own blood. There is so you're in like this storage area. It's clear that there was a battle that took place here. There's a dead body. There's some smears of blood from where other corpses had been dragged out of here. And off to the left, there is a larger box that has been moved out of the way, and it had clearly been hiding a passageway that leads further in. What would you guys like to do?
I suppose there's nothing but to advance.
Regarding the crates, do these things look like they may have been placed here relatively recently? Like somebody
That's a good question.
almost camping out in this location, or is this or like smuggling something through here?
Yeah.
Or are these really
Raleigh,
old?
give me a cunning check, and you can use your tracking for this. This, I think,
it.
is in your realm of experience.
Roger that. Rolled a 3.
Dude, we're on fire.
Nice.
Looking around, these types of places are very common in Arcadia, and yes, often used for storage and things like that.
Raleigh's probably been in more than one of them on more than one occasion on both
with the
sides
dust
of the law.
and cobwebs and shit down here. This has been here for a long time, although some stuff has been moved around more recently, including that larger box that was covering up the side passageway. In your opinion, this was probably an existing storage place that was converted into maybe a safe house or something like that for the masks.
Are there any signs of, like, are there any masks around? Like, are there any, like, you know, any sign that it is something that was set up by the I mean, we're assuming that
Or
it
maybe
is.
somewhere that they had drawn up some plans or something
well,
like
not
that.
out here in this area. You do still have the side passageway.
Yeah,
and in
let's check
fact,
out
the
the
trail
side
of blood, as you are looking more closely at it, there are trails leading out and farther into the sewers as well. So
Oh, interesting.
Looking around, there is a ladder that leads to a trap door, which presumably is going to take you into whatever establishment this basement is under. Although, from the looks of it, the ladder has not been used in a while, and you can tell this because when you go over to it, the one of the rungs is actually loose and comes off in your hand. If somebody had tried to use this ladder, it would have broken.
Sure.
So I think that we should check out the. Well, I'll do it as Raleigh. So, are we going to check out the creepy hole in the wall before we keep trudging through this?
I do agree. Perhaps it might be prudent to have me in front for this portion.
I don't disagree.
You hear some sounds coming from that hole in the wall. Scratching. Quiet and far off. But something inside is moving.
They will hear us coming. Should we just hail?
Or do we send Alexander in?
Oh,
Should be pretty quiet, I assume.
Can you do it?
I'll do my damnedest.
be quick to call for us, friend.
We'll watch the hole and make sure no one sneaks up behind you.
Oh, at the first moment of trouble, I'm coming right back.
Good.
Poof. Let's do this. You haven't failed us yet on the sneaks,
Don't say that.
except for that one crazy time at Gareth. But
Yeah, except for that one crazy time in Gareth. Yeah.
It's still possible. All right. Am I rolling a discreet, Patrick?
Roll. You know what? Can I roll this secret?
ooh,
Oh, I'm terrified of it, but
What is your discreet?
Discreet is 15.
Alexander, you press yourself up against the shadows of the wall and head into this smaller passageway. Even you are needing to stoop here, and it leads some ways, maybe 10 feet or so, before opening up into a larger, dark chamber. The movement has stopped. And as you move through, there is a sudden crack, and a large rat, like the size of a small cat, comes rushing past you. Your heart leaps into your chest as this happens, and you press yourself up against the wall, but it runs past. You take a deep breath, and you look down. The crack was glass. You've stepped on something. There is a glass vial was lying in the middle of the passageway. The vial contains a strange fluid, viscous, dark. Do you reach down to touch it?
I do not want to reach down and touch it, but I'd like to stoop a little lower to examine it. Is it similar to the tar or any other liquid that I've seen?
There's a lot of substances in this campaign, which I did not think that this was going to be an alchemy campaign, but apparently it is. You... Give me a cunning check.
Cunning? Not one of my best, but we'll give it a damn...
Oh my gosh, before you make this check, though, anyone who has a, the essence, the reroll, after having killed that creature, you refill your essence.
Oh,
so I have
that
one
should
now?
have happened at the beginning of the session, I'm sorry.
that's okay.
You should put this in notes or bio or something, I assume.
I put it on my character sheet.
Yeah. Let me write
Just
that down
remember
really
it.
quick, then.
Like a man.
I put it in my quotes.
Some of us don't have to worry about that.
Because
One
you are
of
soulless, like the gingers that broke out of the sewer.
All right.
All right, you want a cunning check
I want
then?
a cunning check. Yep.
Fitty fitty.
Fitty fitty.
Fuck yeah.
As you bend down to examine this vial, the hairs on the back of your neck stand on end. You feel that buzz in the air of corruption.
I do not touch it, if that's what you're asking.
Nope.
No. So the vial is cracked. This is from the cracked vial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am going to.
I just had another crazy thought.
Assume I wouldn't have any reopen vials of my own, would I?
You do not know.
Okay. Well, I am going to carefully step around it and take a look further in. But, yeah. I'm gonna actually pull my like scarf over my I have a scarf. I'm gonna pull it over my nose and mouth.
It is getting very dark the farther and farther you get in here. What are you using for a light source? I guess I'll say that. You were trying to sneak, so I assume that you didn't bring a light source in. And as you get farther and farther in, it is becoming clear that you are going to need one in order to continue to be able to see.
You might have matches of some kind.
I don't know. Do you?
Let's see.
Spend 2 stress for a flashback.
That's the thing is, like, I don't have like a listed specific like adventure
smoker.
group. Yeah.
We have not done much shopping in this
I'm gonna say,
campaign.
well, and also we've not talked a little bit about like the various things in our like
Yeah, like that
our
people might be
bags.
carrying. Like,
Yeah.
Sure.
like
Clothes
Raleigh
and
literally
shitty
has
I'm
weapons.
not
nothing in
thinking a
inventory.
torch, but I am thinking
We were
like,
prisoners.
we were.
Would Rowley have matches of some sort?
Would have been too late.
I would assume so, probably. But
It would
yeah,
make more sense for him to have stuff.
Yeah.
but yeah.
I don't have
them.
shit.
I mean, also, even if you did, if you strike a match or something, it's still going to give your position away. So we might as well
Right.
all just go.
I'm just gonna. Do I need to do it? Do I need to have a light source to keep moving? I guess is the question.
You do not have to have a light source to keep moving, but what you will be able to see and ascertain is going to be limited.
I will keep moving then.
Okay.
Carefully though. I will be I will half speed myself.
Give me a vigilant check.
Vigilant.
Right into the bottomless pit, into forever darkness.
It's very possible.
No, he's just going to trip over
It's
a bucket.
very possible. the expression
Alright.
of
Okay. Oh fuck yeah!
Alexander, you, walking very slowly, stop right before a chair. This chair has binds on it that have been discarded and left here. There are, there's a small table in this room that is next to it. And on that table is a small prayer book.
Of what religion?
Do you want to open it?
I'm not able to ascertain from the cover.
It is very dark. You would have to pick it up and inspect it.
Better
Do
hope
you-
they're not
do
like
you
the
touch-
Viet Cong.
The cursed prayer book. I mean, I'm sorry, the regular, the uncursed, regular, normal prayer book.
Using my knife, I open the
Oh man,
prayer
this is like
book.
Vietnam.
Getting close to it and flipping it open, it is a prayer book of Isho. and there are several notes and things written in the margin.
Can I read them?
And the notes are speculation on, the meanings of various different passageways, connections to between various different prayers and things. It's still tough to make out here, but whoever was using this prayer book was evidently rather devout and very knowledgeable.
I will.
That is.
I will actually take said prayer book.
You pick it up.
Yeah.
It is smooth and light in your hand.
I knew that was coming.
Abyssal pit of nothingness.
However, the grenade that was tied to it.
Less smooth. Yeah, no, I'll pocket that prayer book then.
Did you mention if the restraints were broken?
There were binds. It was rope, and it looks as though the rope was cut.
But not untied. That is important.
Yes.
Okay.
Hastily, in fact.
Hastily cut. Okay.
Shit.
Can
wonder
I
if the
sense-
Redguards found him already?
Can I sense how much further this passageway may go?
Oh, this is the end of the passageway.
Then
There's
anything
someone
else of
out
note
there.
for me to grab? Or
Yeah, there are a
like,
few other there's a closet here, but it looks like everything was mostly cleared out. Again, it's
Yeah.
difficult to see, but you get the sense that that this was sort of being used as a holding facility for something.
then I shall return.
That was moved hastily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A person restrained to a chair by someone knowledgeable of the Church of Isho and hastily removed from this place amidst the attack of a slain corrupted individual.
Well, we know that the doctor could be the person who was bound to the chair.
Mhm.
We
very
also
likely.
know that the preacher man is associated with the masks, so that would explain explain
Definitely.
the prayer book. And since the Red Guards were attacking down into the sewers, they may have had to move very quickly out of the sewers or further in, as the blood trail is indicating to us.
Which obviously Alexander relays all of the information he saw, including the vial.
Oh yeah,
Dorian,
you guys want to
do
hear
you
my
think you could,
horrifying theory?
Yes,
Dorian,
Raleigh?
do you think you could identify that substance Alexander speaks of?
I really hope I'm not right.
I would have to take a look at it, but
It's only a
perhaps-
short ways away, and we know the path is safe. Why don't you do that?
Just large rats.
All right. Does anyone have a light?
ROTUSs.
It's rather dark in here.
Raleigh strikes a match.
There we go.
You strike a match?
No, I won't strike a match. You can go get in there.
It explodes the gas!
Alexander already knows where it is.
Sewer gas!
Like, actually, striking a match in a sewer is probably a terrible idea.
True,
so, no,
true.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, no, Alexander will show Dorian the way
Okay.
to the...
Yeah, you step a little ways into this short passageway, and Dorian, you move to inspect this crushed vial and its contents. The same sensation that Alexander has, that same creeping up your spine of the corruption. You've sensed this before.
Is this the same substance that I saw the headmaster using or
It's,
attempting to use?
from what you can tell, it's giving you the very same feeling. You would have to do some chemical tests, and you didn't really get to interact with either of them. But if you had to take a guess, you would say yes. At least something very similar.
To what? I missed that.
What the headmaster was trying to inject the professor of mythology with.
Oh, shit!
Yeah.
But I think we should all go.
Leave
look
the
at
city
us.
behind. Go
Just leave.
somewhere else.
Somewhere sunny with a beach. No,
Drink
I think
some
we should
Mai
all
Tais as the world
go.
ends.
I think we should all go to investigate this space quickly. Because I have a feeling that I have a feeling.
Let's go.
So you're all going to go into the room.
So we're
where-
all there when we're
Okay.
looking at this substance.
Sure. Raleigh, do you have a light source?
I will actually strike a match.
Okay. So you all go to inspect the substance or farther into the room?
I think we should
Okay.
all take a look at the substance first.
Yeah,
Little bit of column A, little bit of column B.
got it. So yeah, you all inspect the substance, which is actually now like bubbling, and God, you would swear that shit's alive.
Oof.
So anybody seen anything like that before ever?
I
Dorian?
have, yes. The headmaster was not acting himself when Millie and I had went to talk with him about the events within the academy. He had gathered a professor of mythology who was ranting and raving, acting rather mad, and he had essentially pinned her down, and he was about to inject her with a essence just like this. I am not entirely sure what it is, but upon feeling the sickness of corruption spilling off of it, thinking on my feet, perhaps rather hastily, I destroyed it before he was able to inject it into her. And then I
Right.
fled.
I have a question. And this is mostly for the Bone Man.
Yeah.
But there's another black tar-like substance that's floating around here, right? The black sap.
Yeah.
So this isn't that.
Not any of which I've seen. And
Interesting.
he shows you, he like scoops out a small portion from the sensor in his rib cage and shows you.
Yeah, the black
Interesting.
sap itself is more like sap. This is like an oily sort of thing.
Taking a look at it, and
So it's
with
the soy
my
sauce, right?
It's the soy. It's that shit fucking
Ooh.
moves, dude.
That
Enough
shit
of-
fucking moves, dude.
Anastas lets the impulsive intrusive thoughts win, takes an insignificant amount of the sap as to not render it useless, but sprinkles it on the little bit of substance on the ground.
You know when you yeah, everyone's seen a middle school science fair volcano.
Yeah.
It starts bubbling up and more like expanding, and it's a quite violent reaction of bubbling and sizzling before the substance like and you just did a little bit of sap.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Okay, so the sap sort of burns up and is absorbed into this thing, and it leaves only like a frothy, bubbly ness from it.
I touch it.
Okay, are we like getting in there, or are we just like?
I like put a little bit of the foam and the stuff in between my fingers.
Anastas, what are you doing?
This thing reeks of corruption.
Roll a resolute.
Precisely. Why would you touch?
Sometimes you just gotta touch the weird black foamy stuff that you find in the
You
sewer.
really, really don't.
As long as someone else does it, it's not
sometimes
myself.
you do.
Oh my god.
You feel the corruption. You feel that wrongness in the air, but you do not take any temporary corruption damage.
Nice.
Hmm. I feel
So-
it's sting. I was wondering if the pine resin would render this substance inert. Just a thought. I'm no scientist. Anyway,
I have a crazy question.
yes,
So,
Ollie.
if you were to inject this into somebody, right? Like, it would make them go all beast mode right off the bat.
That stands to reason, Dorian.
That's precisely what I was thinking. I mean, with the horrors that we've seen and what corruption can do to the body, something that harnesses such a potent mixture of it.
What would
Enough?
happen then if you were to say, shoot him up full of black sap or something?
My thoughts exactly.
Could you perhaps go mad just long enough to do something and then come back out of it?
Typically, such behavior with the holy tar would be heresy, but I see no purer method of use than to end the corrupted. It might make a fine weapon onto a bolt of a crossbow.
Right, but what if you were shooting both? Is what I'm asking. Like, what if you could roid out and then stop?
That I will not be assisting with.
I'm not saying anybody should be doing it. I'm asking
I
if it's
hear
possible.
your words, Raleigh. You think that this individual who is in control of their corruption is utilizing both substances.
I'm just trying to understand how someone who was a rage beast 1 second could all of a sudden stop being one. And that's the only thing that I can think of off the top of my head, unless there's some really fucked up shit going on. So,
I think that
Just-
stands to reason.
just thinking out loud.
I fear your words might be true.
Shall we
Alexander,
continue
Dorian,
down,
what do you think? Something is certainly to keep in mind. Now that we can see more down here in this room, is there anything on the walls, like that closet look off or anything?
This room is incredibly bare. It's
Yeah.
filled with mostly broken furniture and whatever they happened to be able to get in here. Now with a light, you can see there was this chair, but then also that closet they probably had fashioned. There's a lock that's been put on the closet.
Sure.
They had fashioned that into a cell. It looks like that over farther in one of the other corners, there's 1 or 2 bedrolls that have been left here.
Men, I fear we have nothing else to learn from this room. Perhaps it might be best to either continue checking the sewers or meet with Raleigh's men.
We still have a blood trail to follow.
And let's follow it.
Okay.
What makes you think that this blood trail will lead us directly to the doctor?
We have no better leads.
I do not believe the
Besides
doctor
a
can
literal
bleed.
random blood trail.
We have no better leads, and I have every reason to believe that the doctor was here and may still be.
Alright.
Nastas is curious.
You've got a
on whether
better
or not-
idea.
Dorian, as you're thinking about it, though, you know that you're looking for the masks. You do know that the masks hang out at the cathedral. You have a link to the cathedral now in the prayer book, and as you are looking at the second trail of blood, it heads in the direction of the cathedral based on your
Yeah.
little map.
That's what we do.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
That's what we do.
I was actually just about to bring up that we should check out the area of the church before you did that.
Got your back, bro. Now, do you want to follow the blood trail, or do you want to approach the cathedral from the top?
Porcano Los Dos?
Up to you guys. Whatever you want to do.
I vote that myself and Alexander approach topside while the two of you continue on from down below.
If you think so.
Okay. So Dorian and Alexander head out of the sewers, smelling.
They're going to be better at talking to people than we are.
Reeking of sewage. You pull yourselves up and out back.
Oh, I
in
am
the
not a
market
good talker.
district,
No,
and
but he is.
head towards the cathedral. Meanwhile, Anastas and Raleigh continue following the bloody trail deeper into the sewers. It's getting darker and darker as you go further in, and I'd like another tracking check.
It is well established that I do have a sensor that is hanging in the middle of my chest.
You sure do.
Could we light that? It does burn. Lore-wise, it burns sap, but is there a way that we could light that as a light source?
There is plenty of wood and, in fact, torches and things on the walls of the storage room that if you would like to fashion your sensor into a torch or a lamp, I'm happy with that. If you want to take some time down here to do that.
Sure.
So, converting the sensor into a lamp, you're much more easily able to see in the sewer. And still give me that vigilant check. However, you're not going to take the penalty that I was going to give you.
Nice. I mean, my vigilance still really low, so I failed by 1.
Oh, I mean, I'm here. I have the light, and but you're doing the. You can add your tracking.
I already did add my tracking.
Oh, okay. So never mind.
Yeah, still failed by 1.
The tracks head farther into the sewer, and you make several turns, and at a certain point they disappear. You don't have Dorian's map any longer, but now that you've gotten further, you are confident that it's heading in the direction, and you're probably going to link with the sewer or with the catacombs underneath the cathedral. Where that makeshift hospital essentially had been constructed.
Now, sorry, but surely Raleigh would see do they abruptly disappear, or is it just because there's silt and shit on the ground that you just can't see anymore?
Yeah, it's and like this trail had been much lighter. It had been more like drops, and it's like, where's
not
the next drop? And you're not sure.
Not someone being dragged bodily and bloodily out of the sewers by red guards, but someone bleeding.
Yes, and in fact, on the dry sections where you can see footprints, you're fairly confident that no one was being dragged.
Right.
They were wounded and walking.
Yeah. And there were several someones.
Mm-hmm.
At least 3, maybe more.
Well, nothing to do but to do it.
We do it. Let's keep going.
We continue towards what we believe to be the catacombs.
Excellent. Meanwhile, Alexander and Dorian, you approach the St. Aveline Cathedral. As I said, the square is empty. Those beggars and peddlers that you had seen surreptitiously carving masks are nowhere to be seen. And overhead, crows caw as carrions circle above the corpses that are now hanging before the church. How are you guys going to approach this?
So Dorian, along the way, especially now that we literally smell of the sewers, is just kind of taking his traveling cloak, pulling his hood up, and maybe like when people aren't looking, we'll just grab small bits of mud and like smear it over him. He's trying to look as beggarly as possible.
Got it. Sure,
He
sure,
does
sure.
not want to look like Dorian Caldwell.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
Is there a fountain in this area?
Yeah, there's a small fountain. It's actually attached to the side of the church. One of those like half circle guys.
Yeah, Alexander would like to use it to attempt to get some of the stank off.
Rubbing the
Complete
pits,
opposite.
Yeah, clean up a little bit.
You're doing a real good cop,
It's
bad
like
cop
super-
here.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I love that
Nice.
Dorian gets dirtier and fucking Alexander tries to clean himself off.
naturally.
Dorian gives him like the squint and the shake of the head, like, "What are you doing? You're going to stick out in a sore thumb, as a sore thumb."
We're the only ones here, Dorian. Doesn't matter. The stench will give us away, but, we'll make that work.
Also, you just wiped poop off into a public fountain.
I wiped it onto the concrete nearby.
People drink from that.
Well,
They would if there wasn't a bunch of sewage now smeared all over
do
the
they?
public drinking fountain.
Not smeared on it. Smeared around it.
Okay. So, what's the plan? I was thinking of at least faking some sort of the corrupted illness to seek shelter within the church in order to be able to have some sort of look around. What's your ploy?
My ploy is to be as quiet as the grave. You continue about your business. I will be watching.
Okay.
You know I'll be there. I just hope they don't.
Dorian then brings his arm up, sort of around his mouth, and begins to, mimic the coughing that he had heard his father doing as he's, like, reaching out with a bandaged hand and... Sanctuary!
I'm gonna need a discreet check here, my
You got it.
friend. And I'm gonna give you a +2 on this because you have done a lot to make sure that this is gonna work.
You're gross.
Alright!
Hell yeah. Okay.
I'm not too bad at lying. It's persuading people that I suck at.
Dorian, you limp beggarly into the the Alexander. I assume that you are sticking to the shadows and discreetly sneaking into this place as well.
Absolutely.
Dorian, you enter the large the large cathedral to Isho with that shimmering chandelier that sits in the center of it. There are a few people in the pews, hooded and praying, but otherwise the cathedral is silent. All of your footsteps and coughing echo throughout the vaulted the chambers, and you are okay. So I guess you get some ways in, and you see that there are people that are coming in and out of a confessional, sort of off to the right-hand side of this cathedral. Basically a small booth, and there's a small line that has appeared.
Of, like, civilians going in for actual confession,
exactly.
or do they look out of place?
Yep, civilians going in for confession. You would suspect that if you were looking for the Reverend, that you could find him there. Where would you like to go? What would you like to do?
Are there any, like, offshoots into, like, a back area?
Alexander has been in the rectory before. There is a small sanctuary that is like sort of behind the main one, but it's just a smaller version of the
Or a
larger
basement?
sanctuary for like the special sacraments, etc. And there is the basement that leads down into the catacombs, which Alexander has been in before, where they have this field hospital set up for the poor corrupted. In addition to that, there appears to be a balcony that would be intended for a choir or chorus of some sort, and there are various nooks and crannies that you can get yourself into.
I'm trying to think of where.
If you were looking for a place that they would have a holding cell where they would be keeping a doctor,
yes.
you do not immediately see one.
Well, yes, I figured that. I'm trying
Yeah.
to think of where they might have something like that or anything having to do with the masks. I think I'm
Alexander,
going to go check out.
what are you doing? Oh, Dorian, go ahead. What were you going to check out?
I was going to say, I think I'm going to go ahead and head towards the basement, but we can cut over to Alexander.
Alexander, you sneak into this cathedral very discreetly, I assume, but you have not rolled your discreet check.
Yo, Matt, now can do.
Okay. What are you doing?
Alexander would like to start finding any evidence of Bridget.
Ooh, okay. So looking around, scanning the people that are in the cathedral itself, you don't see any sign of her, nor any sign of anyone with red hair. At least not from this vantage point. You see as I described to Dorian, there are people waiting to go into the confessional booth. There are people praying. There is the basement down. There's the rectory, and there's the small shrine that is sort of in the back of the main shrine.
Well, Alexander had met her previously in the basement, I believe.
Yes.
So he will go down there.
Yeah. You sneak down into the basement and then towards the door that leads to the catacombs. It's a large oak door with a big the big brass handle, and you grab and attempt to open it, and it is locked. At which point you hear the voice of the Reverend. What does his voice sound like? Is there anything that I can help you with, my... Oh! Alexander, it is you. What are you doing here?
Hello, dear Reverend. It's good to see you again.
Yes, likewise.
I was here to help with some more of the poor souls that you've been working with. You and Bridget have been helping with down here.
Yes.
I told her, and I promised I'd be back at some point. So.
Discreet. Is there a what do we have for persuasion?
There's persuasive.
Yeah, persuasive.
Okay, come on, baby, come on.
Discreet or persuasion, depending on if it's a lie.
Is he lying?
That's a good question.
He's being dishonest about why he's here.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not giving the.
Okay, you can decide if you would like to roll a persuasion or discreet.
That seems so cheap. It's such a big difference.
And the which you pick is going to determine how this works.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
How would discreet even?
Persuade, he is attempting to show like his sincerity towards the cause.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, he has been here before, and I don't think it is unreasonable to say that Alexander actually agrees with what they're doing. Discreet is going to be more like trying to deceive him into being like, oh yeah, I'm one of the good guys. You can just like let me in, like it's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
My only question with that is because I've been here before and because there are those things, what would I get a modifier for persuasive? That
Sure, I would.
disagree.
I will give you favor on persuasive even.
I will actually roll with that then. So no modifier, but I get favor.
Yeah. So you were just being
It's a
straight
risk.
up with him and being like, yeah, I am here to help.
It's a risk because I'm not 100% truthful. I want to see Bridget, but
Mhm.
I'm gonna roll with this.
We do need to see Bridget. That bitch.
We
owes
do.
us a
That is
visit.
very true. We do need to fucking see her.
We
All right.
do need to see Bridget.
Come on, come
yes.
on, come on. Yep.
Whoa!
Okay,
Nice.
Cap.
Ah!
He lowers his voice a little bit. Alexander, I've not always known how exactly whether or not I can trust you, but I'm glad to see you here again. And I'm sure that Bridget, if she were here, would be glad to see you as well. He moves to unlock the door. Terrible what happened to her.
Bucket.
What?
He opens the door, and there. Is there anything that I can help you with?
Well, to be honest, you've left me with many questions in you. I've not seen, well, her since the soiree, and I've been worried what happened to her. That attack.
She's been busy.
Uh-huh.
Oh man,
Busy.
and you did succeed on your persuade.
Busy? What? Please, I'm honestly worried about her. The things in the
Alexander, it's
city.
time that you learn some things
Oh!
about what we are doing here and how a man of your skills can help us.
Go
There's
on.
someone that I want you to meet.
Uh-oh.
Dorian,
No.
I'm sorry, you're on your own, man. Sorry, Holmes. This is some shit. Of course, Reverend.
Follow me. He leads you back upstairs, and he goes to the confessional, and he quietly whispers to the people assembled that confession is over for the day, and we will resume tomorrow as usual. And they nod, and he says a prayer for them, and they leave. And he pulls aside the other priest who was in the confessional, shares some words with him. He looks back and forth from the Reverend and to you, nods, and then heads away. The Reverend gestures towards the empty confessional booth.
It's Alexander. Oh, enter it.
Give me a second. Okay, yeah, you are brought to the small booth, the confessional chamber, small and cramped, dark, and smelling of incense. Do you sit down?
He will.
When you sit on the lone seat, the door is closed behind you, and you have you hear the faint tick of a lock from the other side. Hang on, I need to switch to this. Your pulse quickens at that as you are left in this dark, black chamber. The only light comes from a stream of dust coming in from the symbol of Isho, that lidless eye that is carved into the top of the door. The small barrier beside you shifts open suddenly, leaving only a small barred window separating you from the adjoining booth. Behind it, you see a figure clad in dark robes, hooded, with a simple, mouthless, crimson mask. The creature says nothing. It does not even look at you. But you can hear its heavy breathing. You can almost feel it on your neck. The creature says nothing for a long time. The voice, when it comes, is scratchy and bestial. Tell me of your sins, child.
Oh, there are so many. You'll have to be more specific.
There is a revolution coming. Which side of it are you going to be on?
I suppose that is up to what is being offered on the table. And what do you offer on the table?
Death to those who have wronged us, and equality for those who have been too long trodden upon.
Populist, of course. I expected that, I knew that. I don't disagree in many ways, of course. What do you do against what lies beyond those gates? That's the real question.
There is power behind those gates. Power we could seize.
Power you can seize. Tell me, what are your sins? You can be honest with me.
Like yours, mine are too many to count. You will need to be more specific.
This story I heard as a child. Someone who cared a bit too much. Who tried to be the hero. Someone who felt the world was at their fingertips. Where is Bridget?
Ooh.
Am I speaking to her? Or a parlor trick?
Bridget is indisposed. She had a rough night. Give me a vigilant check.
Ah! Shit. Oh, come on.
Oh,
Shit. Okay.
You peer through the window at this figure, and there is no okay. You make two observations. The first is that this creature is regular sized. It's not huge. And the second is that it's got slicked back black hair.
Black hair. Oh, okay. I know who that is. All right. We're good.
what? I don't know who that is.
I have no idea.
Are all of you becoming this to fight the likes of the Caldwells and those weapons?
You ask if we are becoming monsters, but I think
don't-
that you should ask whether or not that which we fight has become a monster itself. I come to you, Alexander, with an offer. As I said, a revolution is coming. Which side of it will you be on? If you were to join us, you could come out on top. But if you are against us, you will not survive the night. I know that you are working with the Caldwells, and I know that you have access to their black sap. It's very important to me that we get it, and I hope that we can do it without violence. You can make that happen.
Can indeed. You promised so much, but you need to tell me what happened to her before I can trust what you're doing is right.
Bridget was attacked by those who wish to stop us. And should we not get the black sap, she will not survive the night either.
So she is.
She is alive. Just.
How much black sap do you need?
All of it.
When?
Midnight. Here.
Here. And at midnight, you attack those who have oppressed the city.
If you bring the black sap, I may not need to resort to such.
You have many under your care. How many are we talking?
Hundreds.
Midnight. Here. All of it. Do what you can to save her, okay? Please tell me, is she at least in this chapel? Is she here, safe? That's all I care about.
From the other side of the booth, you hear, "Don't worry. I'm here." And with that, the doors or the window shuts, and you hear figures moving around outside, and then the door is unlocked.
Alexander.
Dorian,
departs.
you watched Alexander. You watched this happen. You watched the people move away from the confessional. You were headed towards the basement. Did I hear that correct?
Yes.
Also? Okay. So you, as they turned to go upstairs, they left the door open. If you would like to have explored the basement, you can, or you can have seen what happened upstairs. Your choice.
I'm gonna look into the basement. I want to make sure that there's a way that these other two can get inside of the church from here.
Got it. So you head down into the basement. You have not been down here yet, have you?
I have not.
Were you in the dormitory wing of the university?
No.
Oh, Peach. Peach.
I did see him.
Yeah, that was me.
I know. Okay, Dorian, you head downstairs, and your eyes go wide as you see the extent of the suffering here. Dozens, hundreds of people, just like your father, coughing, covered in sores, some of them with wild, mad looks in their eyes, babbling incoherently. Nurses or lay people rush back and forth, attempting to treat everyone, but there are simply not enough of them. And it is as bad, if not worse, than that triage center at the last Temple of Isho that you were at in Garth during the attack. But while there were burns and injuries, this is sickness. The whole room smells of it. You feel it seeping into you, and you're not sure that you're ever going to feel clean again. For a few moments, you just wander, observing this, looking for this exit, this entrance that Dorian and Anastas will find. Can I get a vigilant check? Okay.
Succeed.
At the end of the hall, you find an old door. In fact, a table has been pulled in front of it. You would not have seen it if you had not been looking for it, built into the wall, leading in that southerly direction towards the marketplace. If you had to take a guess, this is the door that you're looking for.
And you said it's currently blocked off?
Yeah.
Can I try to clear it so that they have a way in?
Yeah, you're able to move the table aside, and the lock is.
Make sure it's not locked.
Yeah, the latch is sticky and rusted, but you're able to undo it, and peering through to the other side, you smell that dank smell of the sewers.
Does it look like there's been any traffic through?
Being
here?
not a master tracker, you couldn't say for sure, although when you look down at where that table that you moved had been, you can see that there are scratches in the floor. They must have moved this table here.
At some point. Okay.
At some point, yeah.
Now I will go back upstairs and try and reconvene with.
Before you turn to leave, you hear footsteps from the other side, and from the darkness beyond, illumined by a sensor burning, is the skeletal face of Anastas.
Good, you've made it. Come, up this way.
Dorian. Well, looks like our path was true, Raleigh. Do we dare enter this way?
Will cause a bit of a scene, but not much choice at this point.
Trust me, in that next room, they have much larger things to worry about than you lot walking through.
I am not
No.
inconspicuous.
What do you propose? We need to find the doctor.
Fine. Let us be proud,
All right.
if not prideful.
Let us be proud, if not prideful. That was awesome. Okay, you head into this into the catacombs underneath the cathedral, as I have described. Let's go back to Alexander. Alexander, you step out of the confessional booth. You do not see Dorian. What would you like to do?
Well, I see either of my two padres?
Yes, in fact, the Reverend, who you had been speaking with, approaches from the other side of the cathedral. Did he have the answers you were looking for?
I got what I was coming for, I think. I would still like to, if I can help below, is still something I'd
Of
like
course,
to.
yes. Follow me. And he takes you down to the basement, where you find Dorian and Anastas and Raleigh. The Reverend Does the Reverend go with you down the stairs?
Oh, this will determine what I do.
Oh, guys, that might be bold.
The Reverend, at the door, says, Alexander, I'm glad that we have you on our side. And then he closes the door behind you.
Peace be with you, Father. And he'll turn to meet his companions.
He's not going down there. There's a bunch of gross, sick people down there.
Yes.
There's
the Reverend of the Church of
undesirables
East
down
show.
there.
Dude, the church is bad. Okay.
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 So
Right.
Alexander will find his friends. Hello, friends!
What do they have to say?
Oh, so much. Well, where do I begin? And he begins.
Where the fuck is the doctor?
Don't know where he is specifically. What I do know is that I don't. They are becoming, well, those very beasts that your men talked about. And she's one of them, Rowley.
She.
He nods. But she is here.
She's here. Where?
At this point, I don't know.
He immediately moves past you and starts moving upstairs.
He'll
into the
grab
church.
his arm. Rowley. You're going to have to come a little more clean than you have with us before.
What are you talking about? What did they have to say in that confessional?
They're planning an attack. They wanted me to lead them, well, bring them the sap tonight at midnight here for their plans to take the city. They believe I'm on their side. I didn't say one way or the other, and I'd like to keep it that way. But I can tell you this. Violence will break out tonight one way or the other.
If they do not receive all of the sap,
All of it. By
they
midnight
cannot
tonight.
have all of it. We cannot collect all of it.
I am well aware of that, Anastas.
Whom did you speak with? And do not lie or give me any of your antics, Alexander. Whom did you speak with?
Did you speak to her?
She was one of them.
Did you see her?
I did not, but I
And
recognize
how do you know that
voice.
she's one of these beasts?
Because I saw her bringing the doctor from your parents' manor the night of the attack.
I'm sorry, you what?
Along with the Reverend.
You've
Who
known
led-
this entire time that
And
Bridget
you didn't
had the
say
doctor.
anything.
And you didn't say a
Anastas
word.
walks off and goes up the stairs.
Anastas, violence here is not the answer, at least at this point.
Why didn't you
I
say
will
anything?
be the deciding of that.
They have hundreds.
And I have might. And he
Yeah.
charges up the stairs.
Okay, Anastas,
Oh,
you
dear.
charge up the stairs and barrel through the door into into the cathedral, where several very surprised worshippers are praying in the pews. They look at you concernedly.
Is the Reverend there?
You do not see the Reverend immediately. Although after a few moments, he appears around a corner and is coming towards you with a concerned look.
I march up to him and pick him up by the throat.
Okay. He like grabs at your hands and is choking.
I shake him around and say, "Where is Horatio? Where is the doctor?"
Oh my god. Okay. So
And you wonder why Alexander doesn't tell you things.
Anastas is sick of these games.
basement.
I drop him. What do you mean the basement? That is where I came from.
We have. Why do you need? Oh, my child. What is the reason for this violence?
I am no child of yours. You took one of mine.
Yes, he's being kept downstairs.
Bring me to him. And I shove him in the direction of the wall.
Alexander, before this happens, looks at his compatriots. Ice, can you hear what's happening upstairs?
Yes, yeah. You can have followed this if you wanted to.
Gentlemen, I do believe I will be indisposed for the moment. Good
Where
luck.
do you think you're going?
He fucking jets.
I will be where I need to be. And he will try to get away.
Not without me, you're not. You and I have got some things to square up.
I do believe we do. But I'd rather my cover is not blown at the moment, if you know what I mean. They
No,
trust
I
me?
absolutely don't.
They trust me, Rowley.
I'm one of them, Alexander.
I'm aware.
What in the fuck are both of you talking about?
So let's you and me go together then, shall we?
At this moment, Anastas comes downstairs, pushing the Reverend, who is trying to maintain his composure. He closes the door behind, and turns to Anastas and says, I am not going to have violence in this house.
Nor shall you, should you take me to Horatio.
It is going to be difficult, as I do not have him. I'm going to get you the person who does. He brings you down to a like side area, which it seems to be like a storage room of some sort. And there's the layperson in there who's messing with bandages, and he orders her to get out. And does anyone else want to be with Anastas?
Yeah, I'm definitely following. I'm
Okay.
going to shoot the other two just a disgusted look, and we're going to talk about this later. And I'll follow after Anastas.
Got it. After a moment, the door opens again, and a small, red-headed woman closes the door behind. She is in a bad shape. Her face is pale. There are deep bags under her eyes. She has cuts and bruises, and she is breathing heavily. Anastas, you can... Well... yeah, she's breathing heavily. All right, so you figured it out.
Bridget? Is that you?
Yeah,
Dorian, get behind me now. And I snatch the Reverend by the neck, and I push one of
Reverend
my
is
bow-
not there. It is just
Oh,
Bridget.
he did not. He did not
Yeah.
come in.
He
Okay,
did not.
got it.
No, just Bridget
Got
is
it.
here.
I move Dorian behind me. I interpose ourselves.
Okay, kind of poking out from behind Anastas a little bit.
I've learned your plan, and it is impossible. However, you keeping the doctor here will not cure
All right,
these
I don't
patients.
think that you understand the stakes that we are dealing with at this exact moment. And so don't tell me what plan is impossible or is not impossible. I know that you and your family have what I need to save these people that are down here right now.
He puts Pyridicida on the ground. Child, I have walked this horrific plane for many of your lifetimes. I have seen the fall of Karstop. I was at the fall of the Holy Empire.
I don't give a flying fuck what you have seen.
No war.
So what are you going to do? You're going to kill us? Is that what you're going to do?
I'm going to tell you your violence will fail, and you will not receive the sap. And if you do, it will run out, and you will be here without options, while the Andaran Hadra, the demons, take this city. You are doing nothing but killing us.
I can see that this was a mistake. And she turns around and closes the door behind you.
Does she come out into the like sick area?
She does. She looks at you. And she turns and she walks away.
No, she doesn't. Anastas follows her.
She stops and turns and like looks straight up at you.
I admire your courage, but you will take me to the doctor.
Fuck you.
Ooh. Woman, do you wish to die here?
Lay a hand on me and we destroy him.
Raleigh unslings his bolt caster.
Everyone, just calm down.
No, you brought this fucking
I did not
10-foot
bring
tall
him. He
skeleton
came
in
of
here
his-
to tell us off and tell us what we are and what we aren't doing, and I'm not having it. Get
You
this
are
shambling bone corpse out of my sight.
Guys, I'm gonna kill her.
If you lay a hand on her, Raleigh is going to shoot you.
Look, just hear me out. I have something you need to save your people, and you have something that I need to save mine.
All
You kill
now
Horatio.
finally somebody is talking sense.
If you kill Horatio, you will not get the sap. Your only source of it will be gone, and it will be gone forever. And the Najit will have no dealings with you. And again, your plan will fail. Your childish plan. Gosh, you infuriate me. Nothing but death for you people of flesh. Nothing but violence.
You'd know all about death, wouldn't you?
I would. Much more than you.
Dorian. Did I hear that you're proposing a trade?
I am.
Alright. The Caldwell sap for Horatio.
It is done.
How do we know that he's alright? How do we know that you aren't bluffing right now?
If she's not, her plan will fail anyways.
Right, but she would have the sap, and we
She would have a
you dead
small
down.
portion of the sap. These people will still rot. Maybe it stays the sickness for a week. You know the sap does not cure anything. It treats it. Stays their suffering. But so be it. See your foolishness before you. You can have the Caldwell sap. I'll take it here myself.
Then we shall see you at midnight.
How do we know that the doctor is safe? Especially what we just saw, what scene we saw down in the sewers, and your current condition. We need to know that he's alright before we do anything.
You're just going to have to trust me. He's already dead. I'm not sure what exactly we could do to him.
What do you mean?
Where are we
the
meeting?
doctor's already dead.
You don't know.
I'll tell you on the way to your
Your
mother's
precious doctor is one of him.
What?
More precious than you know, Dorian.
And that is the connection we needed.
Does no one tell the truth around here? All of you have been hiding things from me. Yourself, even you, Anastas? Even you!
I am sorry, Dorian, but my station is above you.
He spits
Even,
on the floor
Alex-
at Anastas's feet and limps away. All of you can find somewhere else to sleep tonight. Fuck you.
And Dorian slams the door to this basement. And that is where we are going to end today's session. Oh my god!
And you thought it'd be a short session. Did we do enough? Are you not entertained?
Jesus Christ.
Anastas shows its true colors.
Oh!
God damn.
Okay.
But the,
All right.
the breaking
Well,
of the
everyone on
fellowship.
stream, thanks for showing up. And we'll see you next time.